In a dark room, a young man is seen playing a video game, and the game is called Tower of Trials, to beat someone who is the greatest in the game. Then, 3 years have passed, but they just realized that the Tower of Trial is a game where no one can beat the game, and all the map levels are so difficult to complete. Even the basic weather and gameplay, maybe there will be potential to end the player's life. And then, after 3 years after the game's release, the players started to decrease because no one had ever been able to clear it up to this point. If the game players decreased, there were still some people who were still playing it, and those pro players managed to beat a few game map levels. And then, in the end, there is someone who finishes the game, and he is the first person to do it, and he is named Jinhyuk, remembering it all, because of the difficult and effort he has put in each level of the game, including a lot of trial and error to complete the Tower of Trials that took up to 11 years. But for him, Jinhyuk was capable, that he could beat the game. But suddenly, the in-game developer congratulates Jinhyuk for completing the game, and the game will reboot, and an update will be given. Then the system gives a notification to Jinhyuk that he needs to update and remembers that the game has been down, and he having no intention of returning after playing it for 11 years, he also wants to stop streaming on new industry platforms. After a long period of time, Jinhyuk is resting himself. Then Jinhyuk woke up with the intention of uploading a video to his Nutuber account, and it was shown how he finished the last level. However, the Tower of Trials, it seems like he was browsing. He found the information about the Tower of Trials to be true. Jinhyuk was troubled by what he saw, and so he clicked to check what the real story was about the Tower of Trials that had appeared in Korea, and everyone who saw the news asked how this happened, and because since Tower of Trials was just a game. And then, while Jinhyuk was just looking at the news, and a game screen appeared in front of him stating that the reboot version of the Tower of Trials had been completed, and the first update had been completed, and asked the humans to clear the first floor of the tower in 90 days. Then, every human asked why they received this message, and they were shocked. When the notification said that if they failed to clear the first floor of the Tower of Trials, every human would perish. Then Jinhyuk ran out of his residence to find a location where he could get that mysterious item. While everyone was panicking, because they didn't know where to go to escape from the trial tower, some wanted to flee overseas, but the tower that belonged to him appeared all over the world. Jinhyuk just then arrived at the station where the mystery item was. After he entered the subway, a message appeared stating that he had reached an event zone indicating something is valuable, because it happened in this case at the location when Jinhyuk noticed that the people around him were those who had played Tower of Trials. And then they realized a mystery item that was coming soon was a very rare item. That's why many people wanted it. And someone unexpectedly approached Jinhyuk person, who approached Jinhyuk Lee Jong-soo. Lee Jong-soo is a streamer who has 500,000 active YouTube subscribers and is the CEO of that company. Jinhyuk used to work for Lee Jong-soo, then asked Jinhyuk what floor he conquered this time, and wanted to share a secret with him because Lee Jong-soo was a cruel CEO based on Jin's experience. Jin decided to do it, but Lee Jong-soo's face was hit by Jinhyuk after Lee Jong-soo tried to hold his shoulder. And then this caused Lee Jong-soo's face to bleed. After Jinhyuk realized an unknown object was about to arrive, and a tree suddenly materialized in the middle of the fountain, Jinhyuk correctly guessed what the mysterious object was. The mysterious item was a fruit. The fruit can increase one's agility, strength, rare health, and magic stats, items that he cannot obtain anywhere else, and will appear when there are events. And then, Jinhyuk was careful of his surroundings, because he wasn't the only one who wanted to reach for the fruit. When the fruit finally stopped moving, everyone rushed to the tree and climbed up. It was a competition to see who would be the first to reach the fruit and eat it. As everyone silently rushed to get the other fruits, someone finally made it in. And then, one of them manages to go in and eat that one fruit, and 3 agility in the process. Then the tree starts moving and attacks everyone in its area, despite knowing where to find fruit that might increase stats. Those who ignore the mechanic, that it would attack them, Jinhyuk made the decision to attack the tree. And then, While everyone else was running away, they could see the tree's attack clearly and were able to dodge it. Whatever form the attack was launched at him to reach the heart of the tree. Jinhyuk tricked the tree into attacking himself. After the tree attack hit himself, Jinhyuk gained a portion. From a tree branch, but ultimate. The goal was to get the tree's ball from the fruit. Jinhyuk was still being attacked by the tree using the vine vampire skill, but he just dodged the blow. Jinhyuk was having fun because he had done this so many times that he could identify the tree's attack. And then, Jinhyuk tried to get close to the tree while fending off its attack so he could kill it. Unless the tree released some sleeping butterflies, it could put anyone to sleep. But Jinhyuk knew how to avoid this. Just by holding it, Jinhyuk used the branch on his hand to strike at the heart of the tree, and then used his other hand to further crush it. And then, the vines will attack. The warning suddenly appeared, and Jinhyuk was the first to defeat the Mangrove of Greed. Jinhyuk, in practicing and memorizing the enemy's in-game attack patterns, made him great in the face of Mangroves of Greed. Jinhyuk was the first person who did it overcame Mangroves of Greed, and the system wanted to record this and enter the information into the system. However, Jinhyuk did not want his information to be entered into the system, because it would cause him a lot of trouble. If people found out that he was one of the best players in the tower, the path that Jinhyuk didn't waste time with the system in an attempt to get his information. Instead, he tried to get the tree ball first. The mangrove fruit of greed gives 3 stats on agility, strength, or magic. But the tree ball gives 12 stats and is a cost-effective item equivalent to leveling up to 4 times when eaten. Jinhyuk then consumes the tree ball and his body glows like that, absorbing the tree even more, or Jinhyuk has to go back to check his stats to see if absorption he managed to get 12 stat points as a result of the absorption. He was now the strongest level 1 person with these stats. An hour later, the system notified everyone about the Greed Mangrove defeat, which was followed by a videotape of how the Greed Mangrove was defeated. No one believed it. The news and chat boxes were flooded with people still in shock about the Greed Mangrove defeat when the movie was posted. However, everyone can see what really happened, and how Jinhyuk overcomes the mangrove from the greed of people contacting Jinhyuk on his main account. Filling up the chat box while offering him the large amount of money generated, someone bid 10 billion won, or over $9 million as a down payment, and an additional 100 million won, or more than $8,000 per month. While the others gave Jinhyuk as much cash as he wanted, they were only seeking knowledge about the Tower of Trials. Jinhyuk needed no money at all because of how the world had changed before. Everything changed. He would have accepted the amount of money that was offered to him. But times have changed. Jinhyuk did not intend to sell any of his knowledge of the tower. The current monopoly information experiment was the most important matter for Jinhyuk, since he wanted to be the first to obtain everything in the trial tower. And while Jinhyuk was considering his next location, mana flowed from the Tower of Trials, turning the objects outside the tower into sacred artifacts. They were only reproductions, but contained the power of the original artifacts in the Tower of Trial. Jinhyuk arrived. He was his ultimate goal of the Korean Citizen Museum. The museum was like a treasure box filled with some artifacts. But Jinhyuk thought, because he wasn't the only one interested in the items in the museum, and he was sure that several top players would be attending, Jinhyuk was greeted by notification as soon as he entered the structure that Jinhyuk wanted to obtain a kind of large map of the land of the East. A map showing the maze of ruins and detailing those monsters and items they would drop when killed. Currently, it was known as map hacking. Although the map can only provide information up to the 10th floor, it is more than enough to help players to progress past Jinhyuk's choice map that 2 men will visit against a young man with a rare talent. And an old man who is proficient in youth magic is surprised. And then, when the old man used fire magic to ignite one of his fingers from the inside, then the old man used his prowess in using fire to attack the young man was instantly burned. The old man was partying with him. The young girl and he told her to looking after everyone as she didn't want to be distracted. The young girl then called forth Anubis to protect them, and if anyone tried to collect any artifacts, Anubis would attack them in an instant. However, Jinhyuk didn't care about this, and simply walked around the museum when the young girl saw this. He told Anubis to attack Jinhyuk, and Anubis should have done so, but Jinhyuk fended off the attack, which surprised the young girl, as he had never seen someone did it. Even the museum visitors were surprised to see this, because it was impossible for them to pull off this feat. Currently, Jinhyuk had stronger stats than anyone else in the museum, which was why he was able to avoid Anubis. And then he attacked Jinhyuk and made fun of the little girl for having a low-quality summon, which infuriated her. The girl then summoned 4 more Anubis to fight Jinhyuk. The young girl became angry because Jinhyuk kept making fun of her. Then, Jinhyuk summoned the Pinewood Tiger and showed the young girl the difference in their status. The more mana he put into the summon, the stronger the summon. That was because Jinhyuk had a lot of mana at his disposal. The young girl was surprised to witnessing this since his summons was huge, and he knew it was different from his summit. Jinhyuk gave the order to the tiger to attack Anubis, and then, because she believed it was hers, the summon could easily defeat them all. The little girl's summon was then attacked by a tiger, which was quickly defeated by Jinhyuk, and summoned the little girl, immediately realizing that she was no match for Jinhyuk and losing all motivation to keep fighting. Because of their differences and strength, Jinhyuk then approached the young girl and asked something from her. However, the girl wasn't sure what Jinhyuk wanted from her. Jinhyuk stated that he wanted 2 Tankamun masks, but the girl refused to give it to Jinhyuk because it was useless in Korea. And then, Jinhyuk directed his tiger to approach the girl, and because the girl was afraid of tigers, he complied with Jinhyuk's request and was given a 2-thrust mask. Then Jinhyuk instructed the summoned person to protect the floor leading to the upper floor, since he didn't want someone to bother him now that the preparations were complete. Jinhyuk intended to get the most powerful talent in the trial tower. Jinhyuk went up to the 3rd floor of the museum. And then, the man then stood up and said, "How did this happen, Lee Yuri? Who is she? And how did she come all the way here? Don't tell me if he passed Lee Yuri to come here." The old man was quite surprised to see Jinhyuk standing up beside him. When he had Lee Yuri take good care, Jinhyuk and the old man were standing in front of the entrance to another room inside the museum, but it was blocked by a force field. The strong Jinhyuk back then said he thought it was rank 1 barrier star that the old man said, "He knows a lot about this young man." And after that, he then touched the barrier and said, "I've never seen a barrier like this before, neither physical nor magical. The attacks worked on this barrier. Jinhyuk's barrier was quite good." Then touched the barrier, and he felt a strong mana. From the barrier where he was, where the flow of mana deviated, Jinhyuk finally knew what kind of barrier it was, and Jinhyuk said it was Karpo. After analyzing the barrier, Jinhyuk said he thought there was a way to destroy this. "But there is a condition before we can open this barrier," Jinhyuk told the old man, that he must use his magic continuous fire to weaken the barrier until he can go inside and back out. "Will all the relics they need?" the old man asked, then said while he was in it, he would just stay outside and keep using magic. And then Jinhyuk says he can't hold magic strong enough to weaken the barrier for very long. The amount of time he knows he might not believe it. But this is the only way. It'll be morning soon and we can't get out of here with nothing to gain. He will let him keep the map. After all, he needs something else, old man. Then mumble and say nothing is gained by hard work. That will be the worst. Result, the old man then asked Jinhyuk, is he really going to give the map to him? Jinhyuk replies with, yes, of course he doesn't want to make enemies out of high-rank users. The old man's magic abilities. Mumble again and says no matter how hard he thinks about it, there is only one conclusion. He thinks he has to believe it. He is very good. Then he will believe it. And then, this time, Jinhyuk then answered with, then he will take care of Grandpa. He'll be back in a moment, try to attack continuously, and that's how the old man charged and cast his fire skills, and attacked the barrier, blocking them from entering the room where several high-value relics were being attacked. The old man was very strong, Instantly weakening Kang Jin-hyuk's barrier, it prepares itself to enter into the room. While the old man was attacking his country's weakening barrier, and while the old man was attacking him, Kang Jin-hyuk then jumped across the barrier and was able to enter the room so that he could get all the relics they needed. While Kang Jin-hyuk was in the room, he looks around and looks at different types of relics and says, "Doesn't seem like anyone has been here and like downstairs," but then he looks at one of them. The relic is missing and someone takes it. The relic is an iron sword he has. A long chin is written on it. The man who took its sword, he had done business here, and he was sure he was also the one who put up the barrier. He planned to leave the area after taking what he wanted, whether the others were fighting or not. He was quiet, not trying to risk anything. But he was sure he didn't even know this Kang Jin-hyuk, and then took some relics and found the relic he was looking for, and he said finally personally, he attached the ability and the last piece of the puzzle and asked to make the most powerful skill. Kang Jin-hyuk then says that he needs a ranky Persian ceremonial form and the right eye of Tatanka B and Drake's male mask rank. Then combines the two relics, then the notice says that the two relics are reacting, which means that they are compatible with each other. And then while the relics were reacting to each other, another Kang Jin-hyuk then paid his respects to them and used another relic he was holding. And then a notification came in saying, "You have successfully combined the against all odds relic that he has now obtained. Relic the rated Eye of Truth, which was one of the strongest relics in the Tower of Trials." And then Kang Jin-hyuk then said, "The Eye of Truth is the biggest eye of the 5 eyes in the world." But there was no other reason why he came to the museum today. Then suddenly, a hidden quest appeared, saying he had managed to combine 3 replica relics B rank or lower for Kang Jin-hyuk, S rank item. He has now met the requirements of copying and storing many of the abilities that existed in this world, and used those skills to create even more powerful skills, which became his weapon to become the strongest in the Tower of Trials, which he has now acquired the fusion's inherent ability of the world's top-ranking memory, is being made by Kang Jin-hyuk. Then stating that however, if the difficulty of the conditions for copying skills spikes, the conditions might partially change. The old man said that if he finishes fast and he doesn't, I think I can last much longer. And then Kang Jin-hyuk tried to copy the skill, but he couldn't successfully copy it, as there was a condition before he could copy the skill. Kang Jin-hyuk then said that in order to copy a skill, the only thing he needed to do was to piss him off. And then the old man started to get angry. Then Kang Jin-hyuk said, "Old man, he can stop using that skill. Now actually, we don't need to do it like that." After hearing this, the old man was shocked and angry at this. The old man then said, "What do you mean? Then why did he tell to use the skill?" And then Kang Jin-hyuk said, "What invading a force field like that would do, all it did was waste the model with this. That old man's magic reserves were almost depleted." Kang Jin-hyuk then said now he has made preparations. It's time to make Kang Jin-hyuk was crazy. He said to the old man he knew, the tower, and through it was like that. It means that this map with information up to the 10th floor is useless for Kang Jin-hyuk. Then seen holding a lighter in his hand, the old man yelled at him and said, "What are you doing?" Kang Jin-hyuk then told the old man. "Didn't I tell you before, he doesn't need this map?" Then Kang Jin-hyuk burned the map in his hand. Well, if someone has a map, they get information up to the 10th floor that might reduce profits. He knowledge he has to others, and he's not willing to sacrifice the old. The man said to him, "Why did you burn it?" "Kang Jin-hyuk will kill you. I will grind him into a pulp that is of no use to him." Then a notification popped up saying he had fulfilled the conditions he had. Successfully copying B-rank fire elemental, the copied skill would be stored in the world's memory. Kang Jin-hyuk then said, fire elemental wasn't a bad start, considering it was his first copy of the old one. The man was very upset about this, and said to Kang Jin-hyuk, he will regret this, which will make him pay for what he did to the map. And then Kang Jin-hyuk then said to the old man, I don't think so. He quite understands. Doesn't understand why he burned the map, which was the same as mine, but the power of his skills far exceeded mine, seeing as he didn't need something like a map. The old man then asked Kang Jin-hyuk, who exactly are you? Then Kang Jin-hyuk replied to him with the old man, if he wants to climb the tower, he better listen to Kang Jin-hyuk's words, and walked out of the museum while thinking, There were only 4 former high-ranking officials who appeared in the museum, including him now. It's the Tower of Trials had become a reality. He understood why they wanted to reduce their risk. Jinhyuk said to the old man. He would contact later and level up together with the girl under him, get some pawns he could use as his help, but they still far. And then, he needs to straighten out his priorities and get the skills he needs. Jinhyuk just then walked over and said to himself, I'm only one person, so he might not be able to make every chance he gets. But the most important and the nice ones are all mine. My name is Han Sang-jin, and he is the chairman of the association. And then, the reason he came here today is to recruit those people. Have awakened there might be differences depending on his rank, but we will guarantee him a minimum salary of $47,000 plus, and we will treat him with the 7th benefit. Government class worker, of course, the person who just appeared in the video. It is an execution. He will make this offer. Then he swore in his name. If he joins us, the government will support him in every way possible. Jinhyuk then said to himself, they have treated him like a tool. No matter what they try to offer him, he has nothing intention to team up with others. In this world, the value of one excellent trained individual is higher than that. Out of 100, the average individual Han Sang-jin also knows that. And that's why he decides to offer a blank check as such. Means persuading Jinhyuk. If he is chosen as president, it must be because he has the skills to back it up. Otherwise, it must be because he has the most experience inside the Tower of Trials. He really hopes that it is because he has such good skills, it will be more interesting for him to copy. And then, the Tower of Trials finally opened, and everyone who woke up flocked and entered it. Jinhyuk then said it was exactly the same as before. He still couldn't believe it seemed that they were all beginners' notifications from the pop-up saying as a celebration for entering the tower. And then, it has been awarded 100 coins. Coins is the currency that can be used in the tower, that players can upload videos recording their achievements, and get 100 coins for every 10,000 views. However, there will be a fee premium based on the player status of all players in the tower that are watching videos will only have the first 10. They 000 views count, so please be careful before deciding which video to watch. The live function can only be used when dealing with bosses to go to the next level. And then, if someone manipulates the viewing count or uses some other form of encounter, there will be an adequate penalty that I'm talking about as a bridge between people who want to climb the tower and those who want to continue living outside the tower. Viewers will choose to watch players who have the opportunity taller, flaunting spire, and then, thus increasing their concern about the function in the Tower of Trials. This is the most interesting one of them. All the more famous it becomes, the more coins it can get. They want to try clearing as soon as possible and try to be ahead of others, get coins. It should be easy, since I know everything about this place. But he has no intention of uploading a video first. Instead of wishing a video to get coins, sharing information he knows will be a bigger loss. But he already knows what the first thing he has to do is something special that no one else will do first. And then, while we cleared the lower 30 levels of the tower, there was a time where we couldn't proceed any further to go to the next level. We needed to look for hidden pieces within the lower levels, and that meant retracing our steps from our experience. Before in the end we were able to find a solution in the abandoned ruins. Then, and that's when we discovered the fact that he's a flawed character from the start for this result we found after all this time, for a character he spent years growing weak. I devoted everything to this, but it ended up like that. So he needs to restart again to have a better character to reach the top of the Tower of Trials. The Spire of the Trials was the only thing he could erase his character and restart again. But that was 6 years ago. Today is a different story, and he won't make the same mistake he did back then. The cornerstone is getting beyond 30, the floor was being built. His basic key to find out it was inside this labyrinth. He never thought he would have to go through this again, even though he did have a sense of nostalgia. And Jinhyuk then opened the door that led to the labyrinth so that he could strengthen his own once more basic foundation to pass room level 30 immediately. After Jinhyuk entered the labyrinth, he felt a nostalgic feeling because it had been a long time since he returned to this labyrinth. Jinhyuk then said this place, and the smell was all the same as before. When he was still the first time Kang Jinhyuk then greeted some came up to him, and he said, "It's nice to see you glowing. It's been a long time." And then, but the greeting was cut short, because Kang Jinhyuk noticed something. A group of people followed Kang Jinhyuk on a trip to the labyrinth, which was a bit unusual for him. The girl said she was happy to meet you, which we were looking for a place to farm, but decided to enter here before the labyrinth closes. Why not cooperate with us and clear the labyrinth together? We can share all the dangers with Kang Jinhyuk. And he said he's trying to fool me while believing the numbers is he's the leader of the group. Kang Jinhyuk then activates his skill lies in the truth, to check if the girl is telling the truth or not. The girl said her name is Park Hana. She's 22 and she once reached the 22nd floor of Tower of Trials. Kang Jinhyuk then said this girl has quite interesting skills. Naturally can be friendly with anyone, even strangers, and this skill can completely erase the feeling of uncomfortable copy condition working with Park Hana. And then, for at least 240 hours, but after the 240 hours passed, there should be no one around you, and Park Hana it would be a big help when dealing with him on the street. So he guessed it would be a good skill to copy since he would also gain meeting lots of people all the way to the top floors of the Tower of Trials. That guy called me Jang Chul Sik. And then, she stopped after playing first floor a bit. The lady said, "It's Lee Hai-min. She also played until first floor and other people said she was. Jang Mina played until third floor and the blonde guy said, 'Please call me Cheon Min Guk. He has never played before.' And the bespectacled man said, 'I'm willing Kwang Woo. This is the first for me too.'" Kang Jinhyuk then introduced himself and said they would obviously stab him in the back later, so no need to remember each one. Park Hana then came to Kang Jinhyuk and said, "Up to what floor have you played Tower of Trials?" A notification then appeared and said Park Hana had activated her skill level. One society said, so he used it like this. If he didn't know about it, he might become intimate with her. Kang Jinhyuk replied, "I went as far as he could." Park Hana was surprised to see this happen, then asked Kang Jinhyuk, "Please tell us what kind of monsters are here and their likable nature." Then said the labyrinth is changing at regular intervals. Then suddenly the labyrinth changes and the other group panics because this is the first time they are seeing this. But he was able to dodge it at the last moment before it hit him and crushed his whole body. The four of them managed to escape death while the labyrinth transformed Kang Jinhyuk. Then said, "Didn't you all experience the rain-changing maze at least once?" Park Hana then said to Kang Jinhyuk, "This is also dangerous for level 1 players. We need to get out of here as soon as possible." Jen then said she wonders why they entered the maze so confidently. It seems they're just honing a navigational skill that these newbies must have to properly perceive the maze as a supermarket environment. And then, these idiots put it aside, had to quickly show himself. Park Hana then said to Kang Jinhyuk, "Why didn't you tell us about something as important as the labyrinth changed before we were injured? After just frantically dodging the part we almost died because of you." It's true he monopolized all the information we got apart from him, because the group blamed Kang Jinhyuk on their incompetence as players for the Tower of Trials. Then said to them, did he ask him to follow him? You guys decided to follow him yourself. He didn't drag him here by force while they were fighting each other. Suddenly the battle axe flew towards them and hit one of Park Hana's group members. The Minotaur suddenly appeared to attack them, but Kang Jinhyuk told them to stay back, so Kang Jinhyuk quickly ran towards the Minotaur. Then the Minotaur attacked Kang Jinhyuk with his battle axe. As soon as he approached him, Kang Jinhyuk was able to dodge the attack, but he was hit a bit. Then a notification popped up saying he has acquired a hidden statistic called Rift. And then, the Rift stat that reduced the difference between him and opponents of a much higher level and increased the difference between him and the weaker one. Opponent Kang Jinhyuk then said, when fighting opponents stronger than him reduced, was their level by 1 for every 3 points in statistics. And then, the best way to grow as a level 1 after this endless trial and error was the only method. He could find Kang Jinhyuk continuing to fight the Minotaur without hesitation. Kang Jinhyuk said, I've already been hit by his attacks tens of thousands of times. Before him, his attack pattern has been engraved into my body, and whenever Kang Jinhyuk is attacked by the Minotaur, his rift stats increase by 0.05, which makes Kang Jinhyuk that even stronger. then said he's a former top player. No matter how strong your attacks are useless if it doesn't hit Kang Jin-hyuk just dodged the Minotaur's attacks to get more rift stats. The more he dodges the Minotaur's attacks, the more he gets rift stats. Kang Jin-hyuk then says, because he was swinging so much that he even tried to hit the Minotaur. Then filled with anger when he heard how Kang Jin-hyuk mocked him. Kang Jin-hyuk then said, the only way to get stronger quickly is a simple gamble with life. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. Notification came and said he just dodged the attack. That fatal rift stat had increased 1 stat point just for a scratch. Not bad exchange. Alright, it should probably be dangerous. If he kept doing this, he had to wrap it up while Kang Jin-hyuk and the Minotaur were fighting the labyrinth. Then changes in the middle of their fight. Then a wall is created between them, in which Kang Jin-hyuk uses this to escape the fight against the Minotaur. And Kang Jin-hyuk bids farewell to the Minotaur, while the terrain changes to dust from the glowing moth he touched earlier. Attracting the Minotaur probably kept chasing us. Park Hana then asked Kang Jin-hyuk, why did you do something so crazy? Kang Jin-hyuk answered clearly, it increased his stats. He rested every time the labyrinth changed and recovered his health and played with the Minotaur. And then, when he came to me efficiently, Park Hana then asked Kang Jin-hyuk, for how long they need to do this? Kang Jin-hyuk replied, with them having to stay there for a month until they escape from the maze. Kang Jin-hyuk then uploaded a new video that went viral, because no one has ever gotten to upgrade guns to marquee. Plus, everything is going crazy on this video as this feat hasn't been done. Even on +5 guns, players had a hard time with this. 10 minutes before that, now pay attention, don't stand like Pole and go for Aya's work. We need to get some other sleepers and find firewood to make a fire. And then, we have to do a lot Kang Jin-hyuk, then open his shop to find something decent to buy Kang Jin-hyuk, then buy enchanted rank F tower card and wear rank bronze key shard of wood ranky cartwheel fragment, and 10 pieces rank F lottery reinforcement scroll. Kang Jin-hyuk then combined the 3 items to create a new item. Then a notification pop up saying that the combination was a success. Kang Jin-hyuk was able to create a new item with the combined items he purchased from the store. And then, the item is Goddess of Luck. Fortuna's Wheel of Fortune. This item is hard to get lucky with a limited range. If she doesn't know the maximum range of luck, the work she does to get lucky might just be a futile effort. But she knows exactly where the range is, since experiencing it throughout life. A notification comes and says the maximum. His lucky value has increased. The probability of successful reinforcement is 0.000012%. And then, reinforcement scrolls are known for their terrible probability, but when he is lucky, the maximum probability of success is 100%. Kang Jin-hyuk then said he will use everything in this dagger, and Kang Jin-hyuk strengthening with a dagger is a success, and he gets +10 dagger notifications said. He was the first to create goods, +10 in Korean server. He has earned 5,000 achievement coins. And then, this will be posted to the Hall of Fame. Kang Jin-hyuk then said, finally, I got something that can be used to finish this maze, and also finish another floor. As he continues with this item, everything will be easy for now. Minotaur once again find them, and it quickly attacked them. Then Park Hana said she would fight him again, this time true when she was shaking with fear because she couldn't defend herself against the angry Minotaur, because it would kill her instantly. While they were talking, a notification pop up and said the condition had met the time limit to copy the skill. Park Hana had time off, and Kang Jin-hyuk can now copy Kang Jin-hyuk's skills, then copy him Kang Jin-hyuk's skills. Then say to him, you are no longer needed. He is alone. Park Hana then said to Kang Jin-hyuk, wait, you're sorry, this is my brothers in the Raven Minotaur Guild, then attacked them. But they dodged. Then Kang Jin-hyuk said to Park Hana, watch carefully from above. There is between that stupid guild and me, which one should you be afraid of? Kang Jin-hyuk attacked the Minotaur, and he was able to deal the damage. But the damage he dealt was too shallow. So he said even though the damage was shallow, it was still taking damage. It was worth raising the rift stat. He could finally be able to damage the Minotaur. Regardless, he can't kill him if that's the case. He just needs to create it, so he can move on to the next floor. Kang Jin-hyuk then attacked the Minotaur with his fire skill to distract the Minotaur's sight, so he could move to the other side, the Minotaur, and attacked again from there. A notification then pop up saying Minotaur has activated level 10 Berserker Minotaur, now in rage mode, and will attack fiercely. And then while in Berserker mode, the Minotaur gains an aura. Then the Minotaur gains some additional power-ups and is able to talk while he's in Berserker Minotaur mode. Then says he's going to rip him to shreds and scatter the pieces of Aya all over the dungeon, so he can never trespass here. Again, Jinhyuk said to the Minotaur, "Your magic power efficiency, noticeably higher than before, is not bad for a mere Minotaur to bring him a piece of cow." Then the Minotaur attacked Jinhyuk, and the two exchanged blows with each other non-stop. The battle continued while Park Hana watched the two of them fight. Park Hana then said to herself, "How could this happen?" Maybe she didn't dodge anymore, but instead blocked by redirecting force. And then, that attack was a boss monster that had activated a skill above level 10. Not even the Crow's Guild full strength could be a match for it. I hate the fact that it feels like he belongs there. And stop no matter how much I run and feel helpless in this reality where nothing changes. Be it reality or a game of predicament, they both are hell. But this world responded, he Minotaur then said, he is full of stingy human tricks, he can only make a scratch on the body. Then suddenly the Minotaur's attack stopped. Then a notification came saying Minotaur level 10 Berserker skills had ended. Jinhyuk at that time said, 5 minutes have passed. The Berserker's skill Stupid Cow can exert strength beyond the individual limit for 5 minutes. But there is an individual penalty of falling into the suspended state for 24 hours. And then, after that, the Minotaur is now in a suspended state and can't move his body for 24 hours. And give Jinhyuk time to check his stats, 57 Rift stat points, in case the level will be reduced by 19 levels 20 days. He can easily reach his goal 100 points. At that time, Park Hana then said, "Is it done?" Jinhyuk replied with, "He just couldn't move," after his Berserker skill ended. But after 24 hours passed, he will attack again. 20 days passed, and the battle still continued, and Jinhyuk was able to reach 100 stat points for Rift. Then Jinhyuk punched the Minotaur and said why it felt like he was getting weaker. And then, as time goes on, it's certain that Jinhyuk will then be able to defeat the Minotaur and say, "It's time to say goodbye. Cow, I guess the only thing left is how to get rid of him. We'll now start recruiting apprentices for our veteran company." He's less than enthusiastic. "I don't think he is interested in," Park Hana said. "Please let him join the company." And then Jinhyuk then refused Park Hana to be his company, and was told if he had anything to offer to Jinhyuk. Park Hana then said that he would give a Bram ring to Jinhyuk, that he brother would get from the Chinese group. And Jinhyuk was shocked by this, and said Bram's ring would fall into his hands. The Crow's Guild, one of the best items he could get on the first floor. It increased movement speed, provided magic resistance, and even had the ability to suppress the monster's power magic. There are also 3 useful options. Jinhyuk then said, "Congrats, he has graduated and has become an intern from a veteran company. Our company does not pay apprentices. He has to come running to him every time he calls. He is wherever he is. He doesn't care, whether it's 3 in the morning or if he being on Jeju Island. So remember, it's the most important time to fill out the contract." Park Hana then said the contract she had to fill was something like that. Then Jinhyuk then combined commune and fire skills to create a new skill that can be made by Jinhyuk, a court rank skill brand A. Company intern with the seal now. Park Hana thinks there is no way for her to escape no matter what she does. Court is a special skill that makes it traceable to someone who is branded a subject. Must obey the orders of their master. The subject is restricted to harming their master, and if the subject breaks this restriction, their entire body will tune into flame, under extreme pain. And then, Jinhyuk and Park Hana finally went outside the labyrinth. Then a notification appeared saying he was the first person to clear the labyrinth on the first floor. This will be recorded in the Hall of Fame tomorrow. 5,000 coins will be paid to every player who clears Park's dungeon. Hana then said he was rewarded for all the possessions he had suffered. But Jinhyuk then said to Park Hana, as an apprentice he is not allowed to get anything in return. When we finish the dungeon, give him all the coins he has. At that time, Jinhyuk stated hereby, he has more than 10,000 coins. There should be no current player who has more coins than him. Jinhyuk then said to Park Hana, get me a bronze ring in 2 days. or something else will happen to him. If he doesn't comply with him in 1 week, the Dangan Guild will mobilize as Korea's tentative representative to clear the third-floor boss. A monster, you mean the guild with who at the moment? The top guild in Korea, huh? Since even the European United States and Japan are having a hard time all the time. Attention has been diverted to Korea. China is still silent about it. Instead of hoping for help from other countries, it would not be better to find a way to clear it with our own power. He thought the guild was more than capable of cleaning it up. They tried to wipe out the third-floor boss monster after only 1 month. How much they want to regret it. Then he understood their impatience that they must want to monopolize the countless resources that exist in the tower. However, 90 days are given to clear each floor. In other words, there is no need to even go to the second floor, less the third floor. If he increases the difficulty with Foundation the week, when he reaches the wall, the pressure felt by his predicament will be much more fierce. Jinhyuk then walked into a cafe to meet the two, an individual who could provide him with more information on what was currently happening throughout Korea during this month. The man's real name was Lee Tae-min. They had changed a little from their game today to think he would meet the veterans he played with he never expected, that he would be able to see them again after a long time. But it was good to see them again, because he could trust them. Jinhyuk then activated his Truth Eyes skill to checking the information for the two. The individual, as expected, he got a king machine. It doesn't have any other obvious drawbacks, other than its huge consumption of magic power. It is an exclusive ability. It specializes in large-scale battles. Kyokushin Taekwondo is a special ability designed for close-range tanking and damage dealing. Since they are similar in level, they should hunt together. Indeed, they are pretty compatible. Back in the day too, the terms of copy first you 3 reach the 20th floor. You can imitate Lee Tae-min, and Yu Yin are abilities. Even though this is the first time I meet them in real life, he is comfortable with what Tae-min and Jinhua told me, the events that happened during the month he lives in the dungeon they told me about. The movements of representatives from guilds around the world are trending, streamers and calling groups, demons that kidnap people and operate coin factories. Taemin said people have flooded the trial tower ever since it appeared. However, as the number of victims increased dramatically since the second floor of the Awakened Association, entry into the tower was restricted to those who passed their test. He would then obtain permission after awakening. Association President Han Sang-jin, Jinhyuk, he used the increase in casualties as an excuse to recruit people. Strongman hiding in the shadows. If it came to this, then it was a stupid system set up by the association. He would make use of it as much as he could to win. After the appearance of the Awakened Association, a player who received a rank below F rank was disenfranchised, even climbing up to the second floor. In contrast to that, if he received a high rank, he would immediately be swarmed with summons from high-level nations and guilds. Therefore, only 3 the kind of people congregate on the site of the people who desperately want the right to climb their towers, who congregate to estimate qualifications. Those who want to climb the tower, and those who want to show off those qualifications to the world. Jinhyuk is now in the Awakened Association, and is about to take the test. But he was ordered to move guards from Hunter Jinhyuk Elite, then said, "Move, why should I? I waited for his turn after getting his number, so why should he move?" And then Jinhyuk then said, "What the hell, he couldn't even get rid of one person, he didn't know who it was. But he made a big mistake. It's not too late for you. So step aside." People then started talking around. They said, "Is that the cleanliness of the male garden? It's dead for sure." Jinhyuk then activated his eyes, truth skill, to check Jinhyuk's ability, and he sure found something extraordinary on him. The condition of the copy is if he reaches the maximum friendliness that he can copy the exclusive ability. But if he reaches the maximum hostility that he can copy from the skill of the subject he wants. Park Hana then sees her older sister arguing with Jinhyuk, and she is surprised to see this as Jin. Hyuk is his master. Jinhyuk then snaps at him, so he can get maximum hostility towards him. Jinhyuk is furious by this, so he then decided to attack Jinhyuk for what he did to him. While he was about to punch Jinhyuk, Jinhyuk just then quickly kicked his knee and made him lose his balance and fall to the ground, and everyone around them saw this, and not knowing what is going on, Why Kang Jinhyuk, who is an elite hunter on the ground and in pain fighting him, Kim Tae's father arrives at the scene and says to stop it. Kang Jinhyuk then activates his Eyes of Truth skill to check on Kim. But the skilled one failed, and it was said because the level difference was over the fixed limit the skill activation would be cancelled. Kang Jinhyuk then said he must be around level 20. Kang Jinhyuk said to Kim, "So this guy had it with him." Kim replied with him a bit, but it can't be helped because he is useful in some ways. Kang Jinhyuk is said to be useful. It is because he supplies Korean ginseng to China. Kim is shocked to hear what Kang Jinhyuk just said. How can it not? He asked more practical questions egg method to overcome the side effects of Korean ginseng. Then a notification pop up saying Kim had activated the blackout barrier level Lee Yuri. Suddenly Kang Jinhyuk and Kim were isolated. The crowd inside woke up. The association test area, which Kang Jinhyuk then spoke to and said, so what he said is, he wants to exchange with the 10 of us monopolized dungeons. How can he be sure if he even knows that information? He claims to know Korean ginseng, an edible item known for its extraordinary qualities of stamina restoration and magic power. If eaten raw, there is magical power side effects poisoning that he must have, already having trouble because of side effects but can be easily dealt with, using 3 items that he needs corrosion to extract Moonlight Stone, and most importantly Mandragora root in addition to the other 2. He must trouble finding the roots right. He will tell him where he can find them if he believes he is a little more now Kim. Then muttered and said it matched the information from the team's guild research, and the explorer team that in the world was this guy Kim then said to Kang Jinhyuk, but if he plays bad tricks, prepare to die. I won't be fair to let him slip. Kim mumble again and said, even for this information demanding 10 of our most profitable dungeons that we have monopolized is a very expensive gift. He needs to draw the line here. Kim then, about to attack Kang Jinhyuk. When Kang Jinhyuk said, you must have misunderstood something, that the person who gave him a chance, here he is outside the barrier. Tai Min and Manhwa are fighting Kim's group, when the barrier is turned off. Then Kang Jinhyuk and Kim Walk came out of Taemin's barrier. Then asked Kang Jinhyuk, why didn't you join the force? Manhwa said just say the word, I will wipe the floor with all of them. Kang Jinhyuk told them to calm down. Kim then walked out of the scene when Hajime was approaching him and said, please wait. He will only let them go if he gives me one more chance. I will go all out. Then Kim takes Kang Jinhyuk and say he's not someone you can handle. It will make him regret it. If he acts, he's alone again. He mutters and says, what the hell is going on inside the barrier? How dare you humiliate me to this extent? I'll kill you no matter. Then what's the incoming notification and the condition of the copy has been fulfilled successfully copied. D rank shallow breathing skill. Breathing skill shallow has been stored in the memory of the shallow world. Breathing is a passive skill that can control the breathing capacity and heart level of the owner of a simple test. And then, he only needs to enter the magic stone. Front. He can use items or exclusive abilities. This test measures the size of Aya potential. When he attacks the magic stone dagger, will it? He only use your weapon and not your exclusive ability. Let's start the test now. Kang Jinhyuk then went to a much bigger magic stone than the instructor had told him. It was a middle-grade magic stone. And then, use these low-tier magic stones. Middle-grade stones and higher stones don't even budge against normal people. A notification comes and it says the rift's stats will be activated to max number. Kang Jinhyuk then mumbles and says, should I see how much he's suffering and that the labyrinth had paid off. Kang Jinhyuk then attacked the magic stone. And it was shocking. The instructor was amazing. The majority of people were disqualified because they didn't even reach the minimum magic power. The magic stone. He had never heard of someone cutting a magic stone in half. The test results. It was an S rank, which he will report this to his superiors, so please wait a moment. Then Kang Jinhyuk said to the instructor, please postpone the report for a week. The instructor did not understand why Kang Jinhyuk said that. Kang Jinhyuk then said it was personal reasons. He would not care where he released it. After 1 week, the instructor wanted to release the information now. But then Kang Jinhyuk says, I've learned a lot of things in life, one of which is that fists are close to him. He's much scarier than the law. The instructor then agrees with Kang Jinhyuk. Kang Jinhyuk and Park Hana looked at each other in the testing area. Then Park Hana gave a Bram ring to Kang Jinhyuk. Then he said I said that maybe we reunited earlier than he expected. Park Hana. He will contact him when he has work for him. Until then, taking care of the Brown's ring, really a very powerful item. Downstairs, because of his choice and ability to suppress monsters, its magic power. Kang Jinhyuk and his group went outside the test area. Manhwa then asked Kang Jinhyuk, "You should go to the dungeon for that second test." "What are you going to do now?" Kang Jinhyuk replied with, "He has to find one, don't worry about him." And then, it remains to climb the tower he will contact. He immediately, the first test, classifies Aya's rank by measuring your magic power, and those who have passed the test will take the second test. The content is simple. You just need to clear one of the dungeons in the trial tower, since the test has no difficulty limitation. Most people prefer dungeons with goblins in them, but the one he will go to is the only ruins on the first floor, even when the Tower Trial game was released 11 years ago. Also, even now when the Tower of Trials appeared. In fact, it was a domain that no one had ever cleared the Tower of Trial. And then, the ruins of the mountain area first floor. Since then, he rank F. Now he can't enter the ruin itself as arranged by the Ruins Guild will not leave me alone if I do so. Then he registers first. He, as the porter of the Attack Force quest exclusively will started. Kang Jinhyuk entered the group as a porter, so he could enter the ruins without any problems. Then, given an exclusive gift, and it said the benefits for the person conquering the tower turned out to be Kang Jinhyuk. Didn't understand anything about this gift, so we just opened it. Then he was given luck 10 pieces, and adaptive stat 10 pieces. Then a notification said he's lucky and adaptive stat will increase by 10. Cold-hearted will be activated. Cold-hearted is able to maintain composure. He is even in a tense situation, but human emotions, he may begin to reduce. Passive Monopoly will be activated. And then, Monopoly is when he takes all the final prizes alone without sharing. He can receive the best rewards. There are countless selection-type prizes. The number in the Tower of Trials wins, if he gets a good one out of 1,000 possibilities. But with this probability itself won't apply to him. Then the ranking team arrives at the portal. Then Kang Jinhyuk quickly activates his Eye of Truth to check the captain. Leading the team, the condition of the copy is to gain a Trust Giant song during the raid. Kang Jinhyuk then says gaining his trust is not going to succeed. And then, one of the mages said it would get dark from here on out. Everyone make sure to follow right behind me. If you start walking elsewhere while not paying attention, there is no way to save. Then activate the skill he called Illuminating to light the way them. Kang Jinhyuk later, and saw some foreigners who helped the advance party to finish off the monster in the ruins. Kang Jinhyuk then said that they were part of a small group of elites in Europe, the Zion Guild, a quite small person among them. And then, he should try to befriend him. "Thank you for your hard work, please drink." Kang Jinhyuk then activated his skill commune to get close to the person in front of him. The notification said, "The subject has a bit of a good impression on him." Kang Jinhyuk was surprised when looking at who it was. It was the youngest daughter of the Laurentius European noble family, a universal-type player who wielded holy power, excelling in offense and defense, and even possessed healing skills like she was the hero who saved Amsterdam from turning into a wasteland. After the plague, now currently one of the most famous players in Europe, Saints of Amsterdam, Teresa Laurentia. She should be the reason there are no fatalities, because she is the one who is most effective against the undead anyway. Everyone should aim to reach higher floors tall, but they suddenly chose this destruction. Instead of clearing the boss, third floor Kang Jinhyuk then activated his Eyes of Truth, but the activation failed because the gap in their level was high. Then suddenly came a notification, and auspicious words and adaptive have canceled the level difference. Then Eyes of Truth raises the level of his copy. The condition is when he enjoys life-threatening danger. He will be able to copy his unique ability and one of his skills. Kang Jinhyuk then says these numbers are huge. No wonder there are more fanatics than him, so he has a job search. This must be why he gave up on the subjugation boss and came here. And then, he had a unique ability that was considered the best among the holy knights. The blessing of the stars, and him gave him the chance to obtain it. The problem was how to create a situation where he would fall into danger and how to save him from that. And then, this state isn't easy at all. The ruins guard stares up at the violators of the security system. It protects the ruins called Sleep Bomb, wakes up when it receives external stimulus, and when it wakes up, it will summon the one protecting the dungeon song Chunhua, then screams, "He's here, ready for battle." Then everyone got ready and prepared themselves to face it. Had been awakened by this alarm, the Guardian was big and strong compared to the robber team. In this ruins, the whole group was in chaos, because the Guardian was too strong for them. At that time, Teresa came in and saved some people, one who was having a hard time. Against the Guardians, Teresa manages to kill several instantly with her skills. Then said the two Guardians slipped. Through the main force, the non-combatants were in danger. He had to go to the rear as fast as possible. Jinhyuk then helped one of the porters to be killed by the guards who had attacked the rear group. Jinhyuk then attacked again with his fire skill, and his attack managed to hurt him badly. At that time, Jinhyuk said, "I can't kill him because I have to do it. Stay at level 1 or I won't be able to do the things he needs to do first long ago, before he leveled up to think they woke up." The Guardians in these ruins had the absurd predicament they should have to gain from doing such a thing, so who would have done such a thing before Jinhyuk? Even finishing what he was saying, Teresa came in and grabbed the person in front of Jinhyuk. Teresa then said, "He thought he was a good person, but to think he threatened non-combatants with a knife. He must be the one who built the dungeon. He would now take it into custody. The porters so don't understand what Teresa is saying." Teresa then quickly attacked Jinhyuk, but Jinhyuk dodged Teresa's attack. Teresa then said to Jinhyuk, "Please don't refuse. I don't want to hurt him. He can justify himself." Jinhyuk's association then said to himself, What she's doing there must be some type of misunderstanding here." Jinhyuk then grabbed Teresa's back. Then he quickly threw her against the wall. Jinhyuk then approached Teresa and said to her, "I'm not the one who woke up the Guardians, and if he was the culprit, he will kill you right here now." The doorman then came and said that Jinhyuk was the one who saved her. Teresa then bowed down to Jinhyuk and apologized to him. Teresa then asked Jinhyuk, "Why did you hide your identity?" Jinhyuk then replied with that similar to the excuse. He was like how he used Cover Zion Guild to secretly get the Peter's Covenant. For the job search, he also needs to get something. Jinhyuk later said to Teresa, "Already know how to clear these ruins, his skills. And then he can rely on him. And since then, the things we both want are the same place. What if he wants him to accompany you?" Jinhyuk and Teresa then go to the place of promise, Petrus. Then a notification came and said a warning word. Hall owner lecherous look at the two of them. Jinhyuk and Teresa were surprised to see this. Jinhyuk's notification then said there is no doubt about it is a boss monster in its direct message. It has never shown any interest towards players. Before it was quite funny that it shows us concern in this way. Teresa then said it looks like it was sent by a boss monster. Does this mean it's acknowledged? Teresa then jumped towards the group of zombies and skeletons to fight them. The monsters guarding the Covenant. Peter saw this. Then Teresa activates her skill on level 5 battle again, which gives her all stats increase for 5 minutes. Then the monsters attacked Teresa, and right at that time the monsters attacked her. Teresa at that time activated her skill level 5 sacred reinforcement where burned the monsters because this attack was sacred, an attack that could deal great damage to opposing elements. Teresa then quickly attacked the rest of the monsters that had surrounded her. Then Jinhyuk quickly jumped on the head of the monster. He then said most of the aggro was interested. Teresa, by leaving all the mobs to Teresa risk leveling up, she accidentally decreased. Jinhyuk was then attacked by the elite Lich, who was also guarding the Peter Covenant. Then another guardian also attacked Jinhyuk, but he dodged perfectly. Jinhyuk then said what the hell was this? Here, the elite Lich Black Lightning could easily be crushed by something like a Dullahan, and it's fatal. Even for the talented veteran, the undead Lich once again attacked Jinhyuk with its lightning bolt, and it followed Jinhyuk. And then, but Jinhyuk ran towards the tomb where the Peter's Covenant was in the lightning, then hit the barrier, protecting the Peter's Covenant from unwanted visitors. Then the barrier was destroyed by him. Jinhyuk then prepared to attack the undead Lich, but was suddenly cut, being half by unknown person, mysterious person. Then said he was sure that he would come here. He has been looking for you since the time it happened. Now he can finally have him revenge on you, the mystery man said to Kang Jinhyuk. You don't recognize me, Kang Jinhyuk then activated his eyes of truth to check identity, man. Then the notification system says the condition of the copy. And then, he has to defeat Chun using a sword that he can copy his abilities or skills of choice. He came back when the Tower of Trials was just a virtual game. There was someone who, after losing to me, never kept it, challenged me, no matter where I was or what he did. He had an extreme fighter concept. He's a psycho stalker. Mysterious man said to think you won't recognize him just because the game comes true, that he's only seen him that far. Kang Jinhyuk then replied with, he remembers he didn't want to trust him back at the museum. It was you who kept following him every day to challenge him. It would be different this time, since we both started from the start. He wouldn't be pushed back by him again. Kang Jinhyuk, then answering with him, won't stop if he really wants to fight, but will you be okay, my friend? It won't be fair to sit still. If he does, the mysterious man then activates a skill called Level 5, Choice of the Battlefield. Then Kang Jinhyuk takes something from the grave and tells Teresa that he will only handle this man, and he will return. Mysterious man and Kang Jinhyuk is summoned to the place, different places. Then the mysterious man activated his skill level 5 one by one, and which gave additional buff to him, and gave negative buff to his opponent, Kang Jinhyuk. Then muttered and said, currently he was being nerfed by this guy. Battlefield selection skills, and one by one the situation became very dangerous for him. But it would be interesting for him to fight someone like him again. A system notification came and said, and very unfavorable situation has been detected. Special condition fusion skill was activated when the situation became very disadvantageous for the original copy. And then, conditioning the conditions will be modified according to the system. Then agreed to Kang Jinhyuk to copy the previous skill. The fusion skill was activated at that time. Kang Jinhyuk said that he wanted to copy the skill from Chun Yusan's unique ability system notification. Then said he had copied the unique ability sword ass rank skill to be copied, recorded in the world's memory. At that time, Chun quickly attacked Kang Jinhyuk, but then Kang Jinhyuk summoned his weapon so he could block Chun-chan and Kang Jinhyuk's attacks, then continued the battle. But Chun then says, this guy, what is he planning? What happened to his middle-range fighting style? And then, why is he fighting me with only daggers? Kang Jinhyuk then tells him this much is enough, for now swordsmanship is quite fun. Chun then activates his skill level 6 soul-crashing sword energy to attack him. And then, he then told him, don't try too hard. He used an energy sword against novice swordsmanship. You must be very proud of yourself, Kang Jinhyuk. Then mumbled and said the blade was bound to destroy. If I fight the sword energy with this, Kang Jinhyuk then said, then he will make a ability that can fight the energy sword. He will a few songs. Sword with the devil's soul fills the notification system. Then the word fusion over rank has been activated. Song sword skill and the devil's soul pill item will fused. He has now acquired a unique ability, Grave, Swords, double S rank. Grave, unique ability. Sword has been activated. Level 1 Black Moon Knight has been activated. And then Kang Jinhyuk then mumbled and said this is not even a tenth of his normal power. The magic power is not enough to handle it. Must upgrade it as soon as possible. Chun saw all this and said, what is this? My amazing power in the most ideal battlefield for him, and my opponent doesn't even use his special mid-range combat style. Everything has to be very much in his favor. Why can't he win in this game? And outside of the game, he does his absolute best just to beat you. And then, but still, why can't I surpass you, Chun? Then attacked Kang Jinhyuk with his energy slash, but Kang Jinhyuk just cut his way there, then launched a counterattack at Chun. Kang Jinhyuk then said, I fought someone faster and used something much stronger until he gets tired of Kang Jinhyuk, then attacks Chun relentlessly until Chun loses his weapon. Kang Jinhyuk says, looks like I won again. He's not sure how many times this takes him. He should know too. But the Tower of Trials isn't something to be looked down upon, in that it's the kind of place where even rankers die soon, once they let their guard down. Therefore we need a lot of strong players, perhaps especially if they're as strong as it would take 60 days to copy other skills from the same person. He didn't need to go looking for him to copy his skills. Because he couldn't wait to pass his skill on to me, Kang Jinhyuk activated his commune skill while doing this. Chun said, I lost this time, but kept it in mind that the outcome would be next time Chun deactivated his battlefield skill and promised Kang Jin-hyuk that he would fight him again in the future. The notification system came in and said level 6 holy decoding had been activated. Then he could decipher what kind of item Kang Jin-hyuk got. And then, it was frozen tears that gave increased magic power of 12 points. Kang Jinhyuk then said he got frozen tears along with the soul. Pill Devil normally need to spend a lot of time absorbing frozen tears magic power, but it was already absorbed 12 stat points, blessing God. Teresa turned on a system notification, suddenly appeared in front of Teresa saying the hall owner had given her an invitation. If he accepts this quest, all the monsters and traps till the end the room will be paralyzed and disabled. Teresa then says this looks bad, as if all the members of the attack force have been kidnapped. Then she tells Kang Jin-hyuk that he has to go, and he has no reason to hesitate. Can he save only one member of the attack force, he can defeat the ancestor after he got there. What if he just dances on the ancestor's palm? Honestly, defeating the ancestor without attack force is impossible. Chun then said, because he doesn't have anything what to do with the attack force. He will take it away, then let him tell him this if he is having trouble making a decision. Remember, this man is a selfish person without even a speck of honor. That's one of the reasons why he hates him so much. Anyhow, I will guarantee one thing about him. He's the only person around the world that can defeat the ancestor. This time is him. Teresa then thanks Chun for the information he gave about Kang Jin-hyuk. And then, Teresa then said to Kang Jin-hyuk he wanted to assign him for party contract. Then he said commission fee is not cheap at all. He was fine with it. Teresa then said, I will give you as many coins as possible. She wanted to please help her beat Grandma the ancestor. And so both Kang Jin-hyuk and Teresa formed a party to defeat the ancestor who was holding attack force hostage at the entrance of the boss room. Teresa then said the amount of magic power seeping out was too unreal. Kang Jin-hyuk then told her not to be afraid. He already knew that the strong opponent is not necessarily the strong one who wins. In battle, it doesn't matter what happens in the boss room. He has to give him unconditional trust. He for him. Then Kang Jin-hyuk and Teresa entered the boss room, and they were greeted by the boss. The room boss of the room was a female vampire named Alice von Ataraxia. Then she said to them that she was bored waiting for them to come. Kang Jin-hyuk then asked Alice about that attack for the force which they kidnapped. Then called them so Kang Jin-hyuk and Teresa could see all the hostages except Kang Jin-hyuk, saw who he was arguing back. And the association test woke Benny Mumble area and said, is he the one responsible for all this? Alice then told them the reason why she inviting him all here is because of his scent sweeter than anything he has ever tasted. Smelling before the smell of your blood being stimulated by the sweet scent is incomparable to Kang Jin-hyuk. And then, an ordinary human blood. Then Mumble and said, what's the matter? He talked about suddenly nothing like this had ever happened before. Alice then asked Kang Jin-hyuk, seemed very annoyed Kang Jin-hyuk, then replied with no one would be bothered if a vampire after their blood. Alice then tells them not to worry. She likes to preserve what she finds delicious. It will allow her to live for at least 60 years, so there's no need to be afraid. Kang Jin-hyuk mutters, saying in other words, he wants to keep her around for my whole life. He was with a straw down my throat. Kang Jin-hyuk then said, Alice, I appreciate your good intentions, but I have no plans to live as high-quality lunch. Alice then said who said he wanted to hear her opinion. He had no choice in this matter. Kang Jin-hyuk then said to Alice, you're so fierce. He didn't say he wouldn't give him anything. I'll give you something sweeter than my blood. Alice then said, your wits are useless. There's nothing more important to us than delicious blood. Whatever he has to offer mind, he will not change. Kang Jin-hyuk then said to Alice, he was sure about that. What if he offered her freedom? This information shocked Alice. In essence, Alice's minion said, how dare you say that word here? We are going to tear you to pieces here, human. Alice said she has to take responsibility for what you just said. Kang Jin-hyuk then replied, if he couldn't take the responsibility, he wouldn't have come here in the first place. Kang Jin-hyuk then said, as the representative of the devil man in the tower, I will free you from this. Put the devil man, that is what they have rejecting humanity, out of revenge money, or even their own individual beliefs referred to humans. Demons block players from climbing towers. There are even times where they join forces with monsters in the labyrinth or ruins. Alice then said, I've heard of you guys, but he said he's one of them. Jinhyuk then told her I got it. Regarding the shrine on the 27th floor, the fact that he's here, and how to overcome the barrier enveloping the ruin. This is what they told me. Teresa then mumbled and said, how exactly is this situation flowing? She disguised herself as a demon human. Suddenly, what exactly was the shrine for them to be shaken? Alice then said, fine, if you know the shrine. Then she guessed the words. She just bluffed. Jinhyuk then said to Alice, will you believe me now? Alice then replied, with no difference whether he is a demon human or no one can say. That they can accomplish what no one has been able to do for a very long time, more than he was too much of a smooth talker. And he couldn't believe it. Hyuk! Teresa blocked it with her shield. Then she activated her skill level 5 sacred reinforcement skill, which managed to block the rest of the spear. Then Teresa said to Jinhyuk to stay back. And then he'll take care of this. He'll survive as much as he can with his holy power. A system notification then says level 5, holy shield activated. Alice then laughs and says how cute she's going to go all out just fighting this a lot. But I hate that power. The sick Alice then summoned her blood explosion and said, I will send you flying at once. Teresa then said how long I will defend against her. But no matter what happens, I will believe Jinhyuk. Suddenly, Jinhyuk stabbed Teresa in the back. And this surprised Teresa, as she did not know what happened and why Jinhyuk stabbed her. And then, Jinhyuk then said to Alice, if I prove it that it's not a bluff, she will believe me. Then Alice then said how funny she thought she betrayed a friend she protected. She proved it to her more. Teresa then took and said, we decided to save attack force with you. Said he had a plan. Then why he attacked him, Jinhyuk then attacked Teresa one more time and seriously injured her. Alice then laughed and said impressively, for a very good human, she understands that he is on her side now. And I will give you a chance. Jinhyuk then said to trick the entry barrier trap you. Alice, I prepared a 7-star spell. If I seal your soul in this case, the barrier item can be deceived. While Alice then replied to Jinhyuk with that the first time he heard about it, Jinhyuk then said, the reason why keeping his level 1 status to the point he gave up, all the experience he could gain since the beginning of Tower of Trials, was the 7-star soul transfer skill, which can only be used by level 1. Then said the condition of the level of the Jin user has met, the casting of the 7-star soul transfer will occur. The cooldown of the activated casting is 365 days. He can only bring 1 soul with him at a time. Jinhyuk then said, this magic circle will forever disappear once a minute passing. The magic will activate properly go. Once he accepts it, the choice is now up to you what to do now, Alice. And then, Alice then said, but I still feel reluctant to agree to the spell she has. Never seen before. But she was confined here too long. It's fine, over 1,000 years, since I've been exiled here. If not now, she may never be able to escape from under this underground palace, that he will ask for the last time, I can trust you. Jinhyuk then bowed and said, if he only gave him honor, he would not let him regret it. Jinhyuk then activated his commune skill, made friends with Alice. Alice then said, I'm Alice von Ataraxia, let the soul transfer. The system notification then said the Brahm ring will absorb the soul of Alice's ancestor. The soul transfer is complete, and Alice's soul is now in the brown ring. Then Alice said, not as bad as she expected. She thought it would be stifling, but unexpectedly comfortable. Jinhyuk then took the ring and said to Alice, do you like your new house, Alice? Alice was then confused after hearing what Jinhyuk said. An assistant notification came and said the unique ability thanks to the stars had been activated. Then Teresa came back to life thanks to the stars. She can revive back once. As long as, because death isn't instant, that drops is 240 hours. And then, Alice then said, you are ungrateful. He dared to disrespect him. Bellis, kill this dirty liar. Teresa then said, I have so many questions, but I should save them for another time. Jinhyuk replied with a yes. We'll be busy for now. Bellis then saying, you stupid humans, do he really think he can leave here alive after betraying us? Master Bellis then activated his level 13 Blood Wave skill. Jinhyuk then activated his level 5 Fire Release skill. Then quickly punched the ground where the flames spread and blocked the blood wave as Jinhyuk fought with Bellis and his minions. Teresa quickly freed the Bellis hostages, then said, "How can a mere human like you fight me?" Jinhyuk then said, "Your magic and my magic fire completely opposite and also a misunderstanding. It's something when your master was sealed in the ring you were gone, and then hush words, he's just a pack of blood. If his magic doesn't work on him, he'll just kill you with my sword." Instead, Bellis and his minions quickly attack Jinhyuk for their master. Jinhyuk is then able to defeat Bellis and his henchmen. Then he comes to Teresa. Then Teresa says it really hurts. It's the first time he is dying, and to think it was in your hands. Teresa then says, "Thank you everyone, congrats, because of you." Then the assistant notices comes and says, "He has saved lives. Teresa wielding thanks to the unique ability of the star. She has now met the requirements. She has successfully copied the unique ability thanks to the attack star that everyone thought would fail." However, the situation was completely turned upside down after the appearance of the masked player, and everyone who saw the video saw how Jinhyuk became victorious in the trial, and he gained a lot of credit for it. Not that it mattered whether the big guilds monopolized everything or were corrupt, but they dared to try to kill him. He can't let it slide for the people as he wants, really destroy those he ordered to secretly kill in the ruins, but you dare to come back here. After messing things up, all he did was wake up the Guardians and make him really mess up the reputation of the guild. We were dragged through the mud and were about to disappear all, because we couldn't teach one person a lesson about humiliating us. Then suddenly the office door was blown up with a huge fireball. Then Jinhyuk enters Jinhyuk's office, then says, "Are you the guild leader of this place?" He then says, this is the perfect opportunity for him to look good in front of the guild leader. "I'll go back to Super Rookie Park first," and he then takes off his mask and he surprised saw who the masked man was. Then Jinhyuk kicked him in the head where he flew into the bookshelf. The guild leader then shouted and said, "It's you who humiliated us in the association." He thought he would be safe after doing something like this. Jinhyuk then replied with, "Not something he should be worried about." The guild leader then quickly took out his sword and tried attacked Jinhyuk. With that, he didn't even notice he was a fast sword that was faster than the speed of sound. He thought he had to die. And then the guild leader was then surprised to see that something hit his sword and it shattered into pieces. Guild leader then saw that it was Jinhyuk's coin. At that time said to the guild leader that you have something perfect for him to throw now, so he will continue the discussion. Then said to Jinhyuk, "Are you here to take revenge? Because he tried to investigate your death only for that." He destroyed the whole building. Jinhyuk then got a coin. Then he flipped it on Shin's forehead, and with this he suddenly lit up. Basic words. "He's quite inappropriate, aren't those who do you think you Shin?" Then said to Jinhyuk, "Just think about it calmly. We have over 50 rankers who aren't here because they cleared the tower. He said that if he kills, they will chase him to the ends of the earth to kill you. Do you understand what blood calling means? Because blood and revenge gave birth to revenge as long as one side. Not forgiving kill will never stop." Jinhyuk then says it's funny how come out of him mouth. But reasonable words like blood and revenge are only there to disturb sleep. Deep down so let's just end things clean. He will be the last to take revenge. So you guys forgive him. And so Jinhyuk attacked the guild leader then, thrown out by Shin from the window of the building and fell to the ground. Jinhyuk then approached him and said, "The only reason you're still alive is because of your brother. You better stay out until he dies. Of course, people who pretend to be dead wake up. If you show me that it is useful, it will let it start to live. Your introduction is also useless. Just destroy one of the leading guilds. Therefore, it will leave running guilty. To it is not too big. He will only maintain the outer appearance. But even if he serves the guild master, no one will follow." Jinhyuk then said to him, "He doesn't have to worry about people going against him. He will let him borrow others. So don't worry about them." A meeting then called for all the Black Crows Guild members and all the high-ranking members attending the gathering. One of them then rushed to the guildmaster's office and said the guildmaster was dead. And then Then who sent Kim's emergency gathering command? Why did he sit there tell me everything that happened without leaving out a single detail? Alice then said I told you to make it so he didn't have to step. At one of the members, the Black Crow said I got lost in words. Says, are you serious about telling him that this kid is the only one who caused all this? Alice then replies to him with, did he just call her a child? Then a huge explosion is seen at the building of the first floor of the Moonlink Tower trials, a place reputed to be the most beautiful castle in the tower. However, the ironic ordeal, no one has visited this place since they didn't have time for fun. When facing the extinction of humanity, it's quite an elegant place. But how are you going to hunt here? Alice said there are 12 statues consuming Serene Moon Lake, and among them the statues have another purpose besides consecrating Lake Alice. Then asked Jinhyuk if the statue has some kind of secret button. Jinhyuk then said, everyone has found it. If that were so obvious, there must be hundreds of players who have discovered this thread. The statue is enough to carry around in society after all. But no one has ever managed to find a key that fits this groove since the key. Because it's not just a piece of metal. It's moonlight. Use my palm to set the amount and angle, where the moonlight enters the groove to match the order engraved on the order of the stones in the groove. And then, after many attempts in opening it, slowly the door to the ground opened. Alice then said to think of a room like that in the trial tower. It's really been a long time to remember, this feeling and that taste of freedom. I had forgotten Jinhyuk. Then asked Alice, aren't you glad you made a contract with him? Alice then replied with that look like she wasn't full of talk about the system. And then, a notification came saying he had used the star's blessing to manifest divine power. The thawing of the 2 frozen tears would start his mana increased by 18 points. It would be available for reuse after 24 hours. The remaining absorption was 70 points after absorbing water. Frozen eyes again, it had become so much easier to defend Alice now that she thought about it, what the creatures in the tower were doing, thought the players she knew it was a game made reality. But with Alice having lived for thousands of years, thinking that she was part of the in-game data, Alice wanted to ask something. But while asking Alice, the communication between them was blocked. Jinhyuk then said, the information related to the tower was completely blocked. But the fact that she found that she couldn't speak about it for the creatures inside the tower enough, Alice felt something would come as soon as she warned Jinhyuk about this. She called the first floor of the lower floor of the Tower of Trials to be the reason for spawning. It was because of the relentless monsters spawn out of abyss monsters. And then, these monsters spawn endlessly here, and it's a good hunting ground for players who want to level up, and hunt items. Jinhyuk then activates, thanks to the star's unique ability, and attacks a large number of scarabs. Then help notification comes and says physical defense the monsters had decreased by 30%, so she told Alice to fight the scarabs. But then Alice said, you dare tell this highness to deal with the flying bugs. That with a bit of persuasive speech, Alice then activated her bloodbinding skill and quickly caught a large number insect. And then a system notification said the rift stats will be applied. Rift stats owned 100, reduced the level gap by 33 levels. After that, Jinhyuk then attacked the bugs. The bugs had been bound by Alice while attacking them. Lots of notifications came saying, he has leveled up. I'm sick of holding back this long. Looks like he's stressed enough to maintain his level 1 status, so he's going to curse you guys. Jinhyuk then activated Graveyard Swordsmanship to attack the large number of bugs that had surrounded him in the Olympus Guild. And then the conference room has a meeting. It's in progress because it looks like most of us have gathered. Let's start. As he all knows, the 8 orders to climb the 4th floor have failed among the 15 assault troops consisting of 100 people. The amount returned just 9 bosses of the 3rd floor is nothing but common. After all, we need a way to defeat 100,000 statues. That he ordered even with divine artifacts with force responsibilities, we still failed. So how are we going to do it past the massive mobs? The 2nd and 3rd floor raids are done quickly. The players don't have enough time to grow if only we have enough. The players who do over level 15, aren't we in this mess because of guilds like Manhwa, who rule dungeons to monopolize the way of magic crystals? That's to say, I can't ignore that statement. And then, what we did was climb the tower for humanity. Jinhyuk replied with anyone can spout excuses, as Patrick later said. Them to stop this is not the right time. The fight among ourselves, we have gathered here to solve the problem in front of us. Yesterday before dawn, we received words from human devils. They said they would help us if one condition was met. He suggested joining them, but he refused to work with them. Teresa then muttered everyone was fed up with the idea of working with devil humans. With the world as it was now, the influence of large guilds surpassed that of governments with increased influence. Only having major reasons was more important than before. Therefore, they had to be careful what they said. They say and do. What do you mean we trash? You hurt this feeling, trash. It's good to be arrogant. And then, but no, he already knew that. He can't do anything with his strength alone. He's all quite hot-blooded. However, he might change his mind after hearing the proposal. He joined the force. With us, because we have the power to defeat the Floor Boss 3. That demon-human association doesn't even have 100 people. How could it be able to break through? That army, we only need the quantity. At that time, a system notification can come and say Gravestone, the unique ability of the Black Tomb, has been activated. And then, thanks to the long history of war, there seemed to be many useful corpses buried around here. As he could see, there were many among the existing devil humans who were experienced in necromancy, which was a special item that could only be produced by obtaining 99 materials. The Staff of Greed then said, if it's a combination of staff, famous greed, and master, the chances of success in the third boss raid are non-existent. Maria then said, did he say they were evil humans? Jinhyuk then said, we have to know Maria is tearing this into pieces now, but if they ask for conditions that the public will never know about it, believe it's worth a try. Teresa then mumbled and said, how did it turn out like this to think? They would even consider joining hands with the devil humans. They were out of their minds. Then suddenly Teresa received a video call from Jinhyuk. Then Teresa answered the call. Jinhyuk said, what's with the situation here? Necromancer then said, who are you? Why not? He revealed himself instead, hiding behind the screen. Everyone in the room shocked to see Jinhyuk. And they said, could it be that person who cleared the first floor damaged the super rookie, who alone cleaned the first? The floor damaged guilt from all over the world want to recruit super rookie they tried so hard to find. And then, appearing in front of their eyes, and the people who tried their best to contact, Jinhyuk gulped. They were in bliss because of his sudden appearance. The necromancer then said, how cute the part of you both, the one who cleared the first floor was destroyed. But does he realize that this boss attack is really different from that place? What he can't do with this much, called the guild representative, Jinhyuk, and also agreed to reply with no way he can, with the fake its staff heart holy, and prison uniform drenched in holy oil. Obviously, he made it only those two ingredients, which was not true. Patrick then asked him if he had any proof of his claim. Jinhyuk then told the staff the real greed. Has a red gem embedded under the skull. There is no way he can make the original only 3 floors. That looks beyond the quality of the summoned skeleton. Soldiers are too low. Those weak soldiers won't even last half a day. The boss room is clear that he is planning to leave you all behind. After picking up some coins and items amidst the confusion, the necromancer then said, he will regret not taking up the offer. He wondered if he could still remain calm. And then, when he meets face to face, next time I will watch over you. Then the necromancer disappears. Jinhyuk then says to them, leave it to him. He will make sure he doesn't have to do it hand in hand with the devil humans, as well as gain the advantage of clearing the towers. Patrick then asked Jinhyuk, did you say that he could do it alone, even if he failed? It gave him the opportunity to recruit him. Compared to joining hands with this devil man, there was no loss and no way he could miss this opportunity. Jinhyuk then said to them, he doesn't need to give him anything. Please block off the entire area so no other hunters can enter. If he let him go and be alone, then he won't take any rewards to players who give up gifts. For his comrades, just this is enough to get something to the extent that it beats advance, since he can't antagonize the guild. He will only upload it after editing the Devilman part of it. And then, he was already at level 12. After not even a day at the spawning ground would be much smoother than he expected. We should get to the end of the first floor dungeon today. So wait in tight, Kang Jinhyuk, then jump into the hole so they can get to the end of the first floor. Kang Jinhyuk and Alice then landed at the end of the first floor. Then Kang Jinhyuk said, "This insect is not suitable for him. Why don't you go out alone? Wandering in the great desert, the great Anubis, finally go out." And then he said to Kang Jinhyuk, because he was the first human ever to come here, he planned to kill you, after some consolation, but he hastened, he himself killed Kang Jinhyuk. Then said to Anubis, "He didn't come far to here for a quick chat and come to me. How absurd are you to tell him that a creature like myself to fight someone like you?" Alice then said, "This person is seriously dangerous. I will deal with this person. Somehow get out of here." Kang Jinhyuk then said, "Alice, do not worry about me. And then stay here and watch him fight the notification system." Then Anubis said, "Is activating judgment, Anubis's unique ability." Anubis then said, "Did you hear about me from that vampire of yours?" Kang Jinhyuk then said, "Skill is always activated when facing him, absolutely. Judgment skill." Anubis's judgment activates, which he answers. 3. Questioning the conditions of copying made patient Anubis runs out to destroy him, holding his consciousness. If he makes his patience run out, he gains the power to ask the most powerful questions. And then, in the real world, he could reply by saying anything regardless of whether or not it was true. How else should he know about this place? The system notification then said, "Subject has answered the question." Anubis then asked again, "As I thought he came to here to take the lair." Kang Jinhyuk answered that with it selling for quite a price on the black market. Then he would ask the final question, did he think he could make it out alive after entering the territory? Kang Jinhyuk then replied that if he can't sneak out of people, like, he might as well just give up on life. The system notification then said the conditions requested have been met. Anubis's judgment has been activated. Anubis then said, "Now I need a proxy for judgment. This is the soldier who will judge." What is he thinking? My brave soldier replies to Anubis and says, "Quite amazing, but this is all he has to beat him." Anubis then says, "Human music suddenly has you going mad." After seeing my warrior Kang Jinhyuk, then after hundreds of thousands of trials beat it perfectly, reproduced the giant locust. The attack pattern, as he always did, followed the beat of the music to lead his attack. Like the conductor, Anubis at that time muttered, saying he followed the beat of music to avoid this perfectly. Definitely not a coincidence. It was a carefully calculated move. Kang Jinhyuk just then used the Grave of Sword skill to directly kill Mantis Anubis. Then said, did he really think it was enough to defeat my warrior? The warrior could immediately produce his body, but it was more for him when his stamina ran out. Now, but he can make it so that it doesn't want to live anymore. Kang Jinhyuk then continues to slice Mantis once it regenerates Alice. Then he says what happened, he really treats her as his toy. I know he is strong, but not to this extent. If it's him, then maybe he really can fulfill my revenge. Anubis then shouted at Mantis and said what she didn't fall back and fought the warrior chosen by that creature, having high pride level as the final blow. Completely broke the will. A soldier who never thought it might lose is a soldier's humiliation and provocation. Then kills himself for being humiliated by Kang Jinhyuk. And Anubis is shocked to see this. After defeating Mantis, Kang Jinhyuk leveled up and got an item dropped from him. Kang Jinhyuk then said, would you like to see this? He could only see something like this on the middle floor of the system notification tower. Then said, he had acquired level 1 ice formation skill. Kang Jinhyuk then said, what is this unexpected gift? Is some powerful skill to have. Anubis then said to Kang Jinhyuk, he will definitely admit that he is not an ordinary human, but are you seriously going to fight him with your ice toy? Kang Jinhyuk then replied, by fighting you, you can't even come against me. So he didn't know what he meant. He was just a back seat of the 42nd floor. Anubis then said, if that was the case, what reason did you choose to fight with him? Then Kang Jinhyuk then replied to Anubis and said, the only reason he had was that it was fun fighting you. After hearing what Kang Jinhyuk said, Anubis got angry and said, Kang Jinhyuk, how dare you use me as your own? Amused Anubis then took out his skill, called him and ordered monsters to do so, attacked Kang Jinhyuk. Kang Jinhyuk then attacked the monster with his ice formation skill that he just got and said he thought this wouldn't even make a dent. Kang Jinhyuk used his ice and fire skills and combined them together to make another skill, then suddenly became big. A bright light appeared, and a notification system came in and said that the skill combination was successful. Jinhyuk then released a variety of white colors. The light that hit the monsters surrounded him, and they were killed into one skill dive. And then, daylight is such a powerful skill that's specially used when there are many enemies that he faces Anubis. Then mumble, and says it looks like he needs to change plans for Anubis. This human then selection of subjects, skills then monsters answer Anubis's call, then quickly attacks Jinhyuk. Jinhyuk easily defeats the summoned monsters, but the problem is that quickly regenerates, then regenerates itself defeated Anubis. And then said the chosen subject would not die, but continued to reproduce no matter how strong the skill was, he once defeated. It was a list of points. Jinhyuk then drank his stockpile pills. These pills can increase the subject's size 10 times, multiply infinitely. Without dying, this corrupt nature will plunge the opponent into despair. And then, they became unable to understand the situation properly. Under the extremely unfavorable condition, Jinhyuk then used a skill of his own, unknown beckoning, to lock all the monsters in one place. Jinhyuk opened his inventory, then took out some items that he bought from the shop and used it to strengthen it. And then, but if he knows the pattern through endless repetition and could calmly analyze the situation, then at the end of the way of thinking, he will change after throwing his fire skills into the queue. Jinhyuk then activates the effect of the pill to face the commanding boss. Soldiers, he needs as many gigantification pills. Maybe this infinite number of spawning monsters gives a large number huge experience, and they are the most efficient copiers, as have just witnessed the battle. And then he was shocked to see what was happening and didn't understand how this was possible. Did he even prepare the items for compounding beforehand? He even knew the nature of the nest beforehand and set the trap that he was sure it was he provoked. He was aiming for this from the beginning, Anubis very angry. What did he see? So he decided to destroy the beehive to stop Jinhyuk from receiving any experience. And level up further, Jinhyuk then said to Anubis, "What are you doing?" He was just enjoying the human show, dare to humiliate him. He could not let this happen. How dare a human mock him? Anubis was enraged once again from what happened at the battle against Jinhyuk. Anubis then said to Jinhyuk, "You better stay alive and come upstairs." Jinhyuk responds with, "He doesn't need to scream like that. I will go to your room and beat you there, and when that day comes I will impose judgment on him disrespecting humans." Then the statue that Anubis was using as his medium was destroyed. Then the system says, "The conditions have been met. Anubis's verdict: this ability can only be used once on the same person. If abused, it will incur the wrath of ancient Egyptian gods." Ancient Egyptian gods stood up to show their interest. Several of them expressed intense hostility towards you. Jinhyuk then says seriously, "The gods of this place are so narrow-minded." Jinhyuk then opens his status window and says it's the first time he's grown this much in this place, because he doesn't know what will happen in the future. He has to distribute his stats evenly, then calls Jinhyuk and says, "Where are you now?" It's somewhere he doesn't know. Jinhyuk replies him with, "It's none of your business. Why did he call? He has a proposal for him to come in 24 hours. The Awakened Association will host the martial arts tournament, and the players who got AA and ranking up are scheduled to participate." Jinhyuk asked this question and answered him with this: "A situation where the Tier 3 floor boss kept failing to awaken, the association held an martial arts tournament." Then said to Jinhyuk, "Participate in this tournament and have another battle with him." Jinhyuk replied to him with why he had to do that. He didn't want to waste my precious time on you. He then said to him, "You won't be able to refuse him, because it has black market tickets. The black market is different from the coin exchange that players use. It is a secret auction place that sells goods through real money auctions, which only a select few members can enter. So this kind of auction house has been formed now that the trial tower has become. In fact, he needed some items to clear the boss on the 3rd floor. If it's an auction house that only the rich secretly attend, then there must be some good stuff that he can get here, right?" The video was uploaded through the newly created unknown channel on the screen. He can see unknown and rating big gills along Teresa since she exited the part, where the devil man turns out to be nothing to insult the guild. No benefit at the moment to make the enemy out of the guild's big, attractive player covered in a veil that everyone wants to know. About ever since he declared to himself clear the dungeon that all major guilds failed to clear, everyone would be hyped considering that one could only view one video a day, 50 million views, quite an astounding number. Since 100 coins were awarded for every 10,000 views, 50 million views would give it is 500,000 coins with 90 commission fees. It comes to about 50,000 coins. There are 24 martial arts tournament participants who are high-ranking or higher to increase public confidence, in associations awakened, and large guilds which have fallen due to failure of the third-floor level in a row. And then, the association decided to broadcast it unedited to show the citizens how strong and trustworthy the players are. In other words, it's a show that he thinks makes sense because not everyone sees Nutuber and he can't see the ability of the players. Very often it's not a bad idea to ease the tension. The mood of the tournament winner is given two choices, one of which is the opportunity to select a replica artifact from the National Museum of Korea. The other is the opportunity to select players to duel against who have not participated in the tournament. This time for sure where everyone will see you beat by him, fighting in the tournament is one of the top players. Next in the Trials Tower, looking at a tournament and he's after a certain person, amazing, incredible power control and wide fields of bananas, and most of all his fights are neat. Cheers, you're the first one to turn down his offer to join the guild. He's quite the spirit for someone this generation. A man came in and said if only he let him participate, he would have destroyed all those bugs and even made Aragon Chun kneel before he didn't. He thought so. Director Hong then said, "Stop saying the same thing again and worry about him interviewing." Then he used money to prepare it. And then he replied with, "Don't worry, he was more photogenic than he thought. He was already talented enough to rise to S rank in 3 years. And if word got out that we recruited prospects like our guild reputation would naturally increase. It would be great if he can stop boasting." Although the player survived Chun now then between replica artifacts and the appointment of the opponent to be. He chose Chun, replied that would choose the opponent, appointed the announcer. Then said Chun said that he wanted to use the designation that would be his against Chun, then brandished his sword at the crowd and said, "Get down here this," immediately then stood up thinking that Chun called him, but Director Hong came and told Young Do-hyun to sit downstairs. He didn't point. He looked at where he pointed his sword and his sword. His gaze was pointed somewhere above us, and then he mumbles saying there shouldn't be anyone from here worth fighting for besides me and the director. Kang Jin-hyuk stood up and said, "For God's sake, you're a master of annoying people." All the scouts were there to see who they would recruit next for their guild. Then shocked to see that the information about Kang Jin-hyuk was hanging, then muttered and said it would be a big topic if he were to duel against someone like AAA rank Young Do-hyun. But he chose an F rank player. This did not benefit him in any way or whatever. He has a fetish for torturing the weak in public. And then, "What do you think, Chun?" Kang Jin-hyuk then said to him, "Begging you, if you lose this match, please stop challenging me. He should know when to let go, Chun, then respond with you acting like I will lose." Did he seriously say that after he saw he won in the tournament? Kang Jinhyuk then made fun of him and said it does look like his skills have improved. Chun then says to him, "I didn't stop for a single moment and did my best to catch. It's up to him if he wants a ticket. He will have to give it all." Then activate his skill park Hana level sword soul pursuit. Kang Jin-hyuk then threw his fire elemental skills in both hands. And then, once again, the two players are now ready to face each other. Then suddenly there is a big explosion, and it damages the dome, and before Chun fades he asks Kang Jin-hyuk about how many skills does he have. Kang Jin-hyuk then takes the market ticket dark and said he will make good use of the black market tickets for him. Everyone there was shocked what they saw, and said, "Is he even an F rank? Forgot about rank F? Is he even Kang Jin-hyuk man?" Then approached Sir Tua and Lee Yuri from the incident at the museum and said, "It's been a long time, isn't it?" The old man replied with that we haven't seen each other since the museum. Kang Jin-hyuk then said, "We first met. But it's not all water under the old bridge," the man then replied, with he also doesn't want to be your enemy. Kang Jinhyuk then spoke to Lee Yuri and said, as a way for us to get started, now please help me, please give him the number. He is the one he can refuse. If he wants, of course, it is only possible if he can handle the consequences. Jung Do-hyun then went to the stadium and said how surprising it was. He thought he would get a floor because he was rank F, but to B, thought he would become this strong. He never imagined an event like this would happen. Notification system. Then the copy said the conditions were, if he knew what his intention was. He would be able to copy the giant's skill, grab Kang Jin-hyuk, then mumble and tell the more important scheme. How did the system know exactly what other people were thinking at all times? It was more than a simple program. Jung Do-hyun then said to Kang Jin-hyuk, "Don't glare at me like that." He didn't come here to fight that. Simply as a person working in the same business, he would see him quite often, and as a partner he would work with from now on he would be under treatment. Kang Jin-hyuk then activated his eyes of truth to check if Jung Do-hyun was telling the truth, but it seemed that he had his own agenda behind him. The surface consisted superficially of there being a subtle amount of inferiority and anger that the gathering displayed. And then, the reporters were as if they were waiting for this moment. And his hand asked for the unique ability of the young handshake was the power, giant black cloud representative who had an expression full of hope by defeating the new recruit who defeated the tournament winner in front of all these reporters. And then, he planned on directing all the gathered attention to himself. What was the clear scheme? Then a system notification came and said the copy conditions had been met back when Tower of Trials. It was a virtual reality game. He didn't have many opportunities to copy skills due to lack of players. But now the game has come true. All the skills that other people have obtained through all the effort. Well, they are just waiting to be collected by him, Kang Jin-hyuk. Then said colleagues how interesting it is this handshake representing the Black Cloud Guild Jung Do-hyun. Then answered with, of course it looks like he is affiliated with guilds whatever. So if he joins us, we will give him special treatment. Kang Jin-hyuk then asked Jung Do-hyun, then let him ask one thing he thought he could win, if it was only hung contest power. Then answered with, of course not very clear, he activated this skill level 5. And then, the giant was hanged. Thought he could win with Kang Jin-hyuk just by using his strength, but he didn't believe in what he was seeing. Kang Jin-hyuk then activated his skill the Anubis Judgment on Jung Do-hyun. Then Jung Do-hyun said he didn't move one bit, how this is probably Kang Jin-hyuk. Then said to Jung Do-hyun, you hold on well enough, no. He seems quite confident in Dia's strength, but for someone your size, don't exaggerate your pain too much. Jung Do-hyun then tried to attack Kang Jin-hyuk. But Kang Jin-hyuk then quickly punched him in the stomach. In retaliation, Kang Jin-hyuk then said, how dare you try to be friendly towards him and then attacked me with your ability director. Hong went to the middle of the stadium to help Jung said, how dare you make cloth out of Jung Do-hyun. Did he know how hard he worked for now? Then Kang Jin-hyuk activated his skill Eye of Truth condition, copy destroyed Hong's pride, and he would be able to copy the demon Key-blood. Kang Jin-hyuk then said, I understand your anger, but why don't we hold him back? Battle Director Hong then said, delay, did he get cold feet after coming this far? Kang Jin-hyuk then replied with no, he just doesn't want to destroy anything. Guildmaster hasn't heard what Kang Jin-hyuk said. Director Hong flew into the air and activated his blood demon key and said to Kang Jin-hyuk, are you seriously saying that Kang Jin-hyuk then activated his skill level 2 during the day, which blinded everyone around the stadium, then activated his rift stat. Then the notification said, using the difference of 99 points has reduced 33 levels, after clashing with Jin Director Hong Van Mumble, and said thinking that he can withstand my blood. This demon lock, there is no way he is equal to him in the vanguard of the attack on Colossus. The boss in second floor don't make me laugh, and before they clash again, the skill is then activated. Level 4 arbitrage. Then a voice says, please stop, no. He thinks he should try to look can in this martial arts tournament. Everyone is watching skill cast by the awakened president Han Sang-jin Association. And then Kang Jin-hyuk then said so, this is the person who led the Korean association that awakened Han Sang-jin. Kang Jin-hyuk, Director Hong said, association president. He was just in time. This man made cloth from players affiliated with our guild. Kang Jin-hyuk Then Representative Hong said, "Please calm down, this isn't a talent show, so it's not obvious there will be injuries. It's a pleasure to meet you." The president of the Korean Association woke up being honest with him. He didn't know anything about him until 20 minutes ago, but he accepted a call from Department Head Park in charge of the martial arts tournament. He said, "Come here soon, that something extraordinary happened." There were some strange things about it. So he decided to investigate the test results. He saw that he pressured his examiner to hide his correct rank. But anyway, congrats on being ranked 16th S in Korea. The association is responsible for the misjudgment in the rankings, and we deeply apologize. And then, everyone was surprised to hear what the president woke up. Associated just said that the new S-rank player has been announced. Director Han then mumbled and said, "What kind of situation is this? Martial arts tournament should be Black Stage Cloud Guild, but completely buried into the ground that he had to fix the situation somehow, but the spotlight was changed to that and hereby destroyed Director Hong's pride." Then a system notification saying, "The conditions have been met. He has now copied the skill called Blood Demon Key." That news about the 16th S rank player from Korea spread like wildfire across the globe, and everyone is talking about it non-stop. Did he say he is going to Las Vegas? Then as an apology, we will prepare a plane for you. So this is the reason people want that high-ranking a Jin. A completely different treatment on presidential plane or Air Force One bound to Las Vegas. Alice then spoke to Jin-hyuk and said, "You see that man in front of him? The scent he gave off was strange. It was unpleasant, and the smell of blood was uncomfortable. I'm sure I don't want to taste his blood. If he who saw humans were mere blood packs said something like that, then something must be wrong." Jinhyuk then activated his skill eyes of truth. Jinhyuk was then surprised to see that the person Alice was talking about was a human devil. Then the system notification said the copy condition was reached maximum affinity with the subject by applying to the Human Devil Association to think that human is one human devil. I can't believe he did the act with a look who is so calm on his face. Can you be a player, Jinhyuk? Aren't you a person who was recently rated as a rank 16S in Korea? This can't be a coincidence. He must have boarded the same plane as me, purposely guessing the big guilds aren't the only people who are interested in me. And then, after the S rank announcement, Jinhyuk then replied to him and said yes, he was regraded as S rank not long ago. This is Alex Judro. He said he thought, so he saw martial arts tournament coverage. What a shocking plea. Please pardon his manners. He, Alex Judro, it must pass out for us to meet like this. We will drink there, not like alcohol to pass the time during such a long flight. He tells all kinds of stories as he dispenses some high-quality cognac. His stories about how his cosmetics business is growing rapidly and the type of difficulties he faced. After the Tower of Trials appeared, he wondered if this devil human who was trying his hardest to tell me, who did he know the fact that he already knew who he was, really being honest? The reason he went to Korea wasn't because of his cosmetics business, it was to develop a business related to resurrection, I thought. He'd give it a try given the change, but there was little problem whether he recognized this new player who had been walking around wearing the mask and seen him. And then, that she was going to wipe out the boss on the 3rd floor. Did she have some sort of relationship with him? To be honest, we were going to participate in the raid on the 3rd floor, but we managed to get into a different predicament because she stopped our efforts so forcefully, even though she said it was to protect his comrades. He told us not to bother him because he had something to do alone. The point was, if he came to the 3rd floor boss room with us, he would be of great help to us since rank S was given the right to act alone. Then someone will be able to touch him. Moreover, he will be able to get hidden items from the boss room of the 3rd floor. And then, Jinhyuk then muttered and said under the circumstances where the big guilds had promised solo raids unknown, and because they would strictly restrict each entry into the boss room, the 3rd floor they were trying to enter was through here. But isn't this a bit too much to request? He just became S rank. But basically not. He told me to go against the big one, the guild already Jinhyuk. He's a businessman. The harder the request, the more rewarding payment he will receive in return. He wants to know, has he ever heard it? It's a legend potion that can cure any disease. Even healing the broken-hearted is elixir, Jinhyuk then said. Why would the Demon Association have something so rare that people would want such an item? and he would give Dia the elixir as down payment if he would only sign this contract. Then notification came said, Alex Judro had activated the contract level 6 of dead. Jinhyuk then mumble and said the contract of the dead. Only from the appearance it is no different from the usual contract, but it is a contract where if he violates the conditions, death will come to him. But there's nothing to worry about as long as he doesn't handle it. He's sorry, but he can't handle this. He's the careful type. So making enemies out of a large guild is a bit troublesome. So even this won't be satisfying. He's sad I expect too much from you. Then let's forget the deal with Elixir. Although he is the careful type. He is also the greedy type, who needs to have everything he wants. Alex Judro then said, Say, what are you talking about? Then suddenly there was air turbulence. What was he trying to do? Expended a lot of mana. Is this crazy kid a gun planning to crash this plane? And then, if necessary, then the captain says this is an announcement for all the passengers in the cabin of the aircraft currently experiencing turbulence. Suddenly, we asked all the passengers to return to their seats. He heard the correct announcement. He must return to his seats. He was Alex Judro, then told him from the start. Where is he affiliated? Jinhyuk then replied with, He had a rough idea. He's good enough at acting. He did well not to piss us off too much. We'll ask him to pay the price for this, no matter what makes me laugh. That's an obvious lie. He's on the same side of the unknown. When you were the one who used to get humiliated during the Olympus meeting, how did he know it was this guy really close to unknown? He probably bullied that maybe the big guilds had shared some information, since he just became a rank S who knows him. Maybe give him some information about him. If he's good. See you later. The plane will land Jinhyuk, then summon the memory of the world. Then fusing the Eye's key of truth and blood demon and creating the Eye skill of gluttony. The Eye of gluttony is a powerful skill. It is immune to all obstructions and sharing spells. And reading minds can only be used on lower level targets than itself. It will fuse with the ability a more stable spirit type in the future, but unable to help since he needs it now. Jinhyuk is now at a secret location where the auction for the black market is going to happen. Jinhyuk is then greeted by one of the human devils and says, Nice to meet you. Name was Julius Cedric. He must have had a vague idea, but, as he saw, he was an idiot lord, so he called him master in such a short time. And then, but it looked like he had taken quite a hit, maybe because he took the elixir from him without getting any results. Jinhyuk then activated his Eye of Gluttony skill and checked the information from Julius Cedric as expected. He had amazing stats to think. He even has a unique ability with good synergy for necromancers. That ability is missed because it can be used to manipulate many summons with little mana. Then the system notification says the copy condition is, if he completes his black magic education and receives an A+, he can copying his unique ability or one of his skills. Jinhyuk then said what the condition of the copy was like. It was this thing. The system was getting crazier and crazier. Jinhyuk then said he received something quite valuable from student Aya, and it was quite a good flight. Julius Cedric then said to him he was very relieved. Heard that Julius Cedric then said about that he came to ask for the information requested from him before. Jinhyuk replied, With what are you talking about? Unknown. Julius Cedric then said, Yes, it's something very important to us. Since then we came to the place. That's good. Let's discuss that another time. Julius Cedric says to him, The house isn't there next time. We have to take care of this as soon as possible. Jinhyuk then said to Julius Cedric, skipping the part where it mattered, he and the black market auction had started a promise. It was amazingly an item that came from the Tower of Trials. And then, the first item is that the meteorite landed in the state of Arizona. He said that it has been emitting strong mana ever since the Tower of Trials appeared. We will start at $100,000. Currently, there is no craftsman Jinhyuk who can work with meteoric iron at the moment, with the word else. Now, when nowadays no one knows how to use them, is the best time to buy cheap ones. Jinhyuk then raises a number to announce his bid on goods. Then suddenly someone raises a bid of $1 million on the item Jinhyuk bid on. Besides, Julius Cedric beats Jin on his item and wins the bidding bid to be sealed. The psychiatric ward catalog is about to begin, At $100,000, Kang Jinhyuk then bid $300,000. But again, Julius Cedric offered him $1 million on the item that Kang Jinhyuk offered, and the item was sold to Julius Cedric. The second item he wanted from Kang Jinhyuk mumbled and said, "I know that he planned to buy everything he bargained for." And then, that is how it will play out. That's the next item. In South America, Mayan civilization, Kang Jinhyuk then bids $500,000. But again, Julius Cedric offers him $1 million to beat Kang Jinhyuk. Kang Jinhyuk then raises the bid for $1,500,000, unless Julius Cedric gave it up and offered $3 million, and the item was sold to Julius Cedric. Once again, bidding on the item continues on everything that's auctioned, the announcer says, and the two fight it out, but it's all sold to Julius Cedric. The next item is for a fan, a true fan he introduces to him. The first chessboard, Kang Jinhyuk offers $50,000 for the chessboard, but Julius Cedric offers him $100,000 for the item. Kang Jinhyuk then offers $1 million, but Julius Cedric offers $8 million for goods. Kang Jinhyuk bids again on goods for $10 million, but Julius counters Cedric's bid with $30 million for a chessboard. Then says $10 million seems all he has, finally found what he really wants. Julius Cedric then yells at Kang Jinhyuk and says he has to beg him on his knees if he wants this stuff. Kang Jinhyuk then mumbles and says, "I squandered so much money, he still has this much, he has much more than he expected," before the item will be sold to Julius Cedric. Alice is currently bidding for $100 million for chessboard item, and everyone is shocked for this offer. Julius Cedric then mumble and said $100 million for that chessboard. What's with that bad boy already bought over $700 million worth of trash, so it will have all been for naught. If he stops here, Julius Cedric then bids $110 million for the board chess. But then, Alice offered a bid for $200 million, and once again, everyone was shocked by this. Julius Cedric then shouted at Alice and said, "Enough! This is what he expected, he believes it. He has $200 million, don't make him laugh." The auctioneer then said, "Young miss, not that I hesitate, but can he provide evidence?" He balances Alice, then summons all her wealth, and that includes massive gold coins, different chest counts, and values items that can only be seen in the Tower of Trials. Validator auction items come. Alice and checks her wealth and says this crown alone is easily worth more than $500 million. She then mutters and says, "The boy, is he not an ordinary human? But what is more dangerous than that girl, treating that girl as if she were a subordinate? Perhaps the enemy is more annoying than unknown may have appeared." Julius Cedric then said, "Our plans have been reversed. Let's continue with Plan B." Alex Judro then said, "He has been waiting," and he said that there had been a big explosion. Then looks at the auction house and everyone rushes out. In the auction house as the sky is about to fall. While people try to get out of the auction house, Alex Judro attacks them and says, "Where is he all rushing for? He is all the sacrifice that is worth being material." He, Alex Judro, then used his skill mana. Kang Jinhyuk then confronted him and said he had crossed the line too far. He was a demonic human. Kang Jinhyuk then said a disgusting necromancer. Alex Judro then replied to him with, "How could he call this a disgustingly beautiful creature as expected? S rank to think he would be able to stand up to this magic." And then, he very clearly remembers the humiliation that he gave to her plane now that he accepts to kill you. "I no longer have any reason to hold back. He is very fast on his feet. We're doing that arrogant rich brat run to him. He hates such disgusting things this. So he already ran away." Kang Jinhyuk then mumble and word materialization released because it's getting harder for him to do it. Keep his mana inside this mana furnace. He collects damage from the furnace. The longer this drags on, the worse for him. He needs to do it. End this as soon as possible. Kang Jinhyuk activated the sword skill grave to attack Alex Judro's call. Alex Judro then said, "What a shock. I didn't even see what just happened. Anyway, I enjoyed myself quite a lot with this. A lot of stuff knows what business could possibly be easier than this." Kang Jinhyuk then muttered, saying, "I see he's planning to stalling for time. Like this, continue to raise monsters as much as possible, with the vitality of the people around him, and play around with the opponent until their mana runs out. The battle style of the sacred necromancer prolongs the battle until the opponent is tired. To think he would consider something like this, a trump card, he was going to burn them all before they revived him. Jinhyuk then activated his skill. Alex Judro then said I knew it. He was going to use it, but he knew all about his skills from seeing martial arts Spurs tournament footage and attacking before Ray's light fully charged. Alex Judro was surprised to see his call was not following his orders, and when he looked clear, his call leg was frozen by Alex Judro's eyes. Then mumble and he said, use a flash of light to blind. He saw him use ice skill. Then Jinhyuk took out his skill daylight to engulf the auction house with his attack. Alex Judro then got consciousness, and when he looked around, all his calls changed to ash. Jinhyuk went behind Alex Judro and said, look at your precious young. They all went how he lost. He believed he was the one in the advantage. He had to get out of here and regroup with Master. Meanwhile, Alex Judro ran Jinhyuk, then threw his dagger towards Alex Judro, and it hit him back. He caused this huge mess, and now all he can do is run away. He's going to tell him how he's going to die. His lungs will slowly fill with blood for the next 30 minutes. Once his lungs are filled with blood, he will finally be able to die from suffocation. He hears the second most painful death, after being burned. Maybe suffocation. Of course he can make it so he won't have to suffer for so long if he gives him information about the Human-Devil Association. He couldn't even talk because he had a blocked throat. If so, he had to climb it. Then Jinhyuk stepped on Alex Judro's hand and said, if he doesn't want to tell me, then it can't be helped trying to suffer as long as possible before he dies. That is payment for all life he took today. Jinhyuk then looked at the items to be auctioned, but because there was an attack on the auction, the house was left there. Jinhyuk then said I can make a sub-room big enough, stock up with these items. Jinhyuk then combined the two items to create new items, and Jinhyuk was able to create a massive inventory subspace from combining the two. And then, now in the trial tower on the 3rd floor of the Hate Church, why is the security system here so dang annoying, Melina? Then says there really needs to be done with this every time. The man then said, stop complaining, Melina, I'm in a bad mood because of that idiot Alex Judro. Melina then said, he's in a bad mood, why should he tell me about Dia's current mood? The man then said, he has to do it if he doesn't want to die, even if he doesn't. He's a comrade who has spent the last 10 years hanging between life and death together. Why do you always try to kill each other? The reason why he called him here is because of a new interesting person named Jinhyuk has. Turns out this Jinhyuk guy must have played a lot of this game. Also, even though he's probably on the same level as every other ranker there. The masked man says, don't let his guard down. He's probably reached a much higher floor than us. Then it said was the executive, who had reached the 20th floor, already considered a madman. So isn't that impossible? Someone else then said, he also thought it was an exaggeration in our case. We chose the unpopular virtual reality. It's the Tower of Trials game to escape himself, Interpol eyes. So we know more about the tower than the average person. Melina then says he really can't be. Besides, people would have special reasons like that, right? No matter how bored he is playing such a sadistic game. There's no reason to continue playing him. Unless he's a crazy gamer, they don't take this seriously. But real deals can tell each other apart. We can't underestimate Jinhyuk. When he poses a threat to us, he has to get rid of both of him. He following Julius Cedric helped him so our plan didn't spoil Melina. Then said he's too worried, old man, come get it, look at this. I've been watching him for a while. But there's something unusual about him. He then said, isn't he an attention seeker just like everyone else? And then T-Man then said maybe, but I feel something special from it. Yuna said, isn't this the human face tree temple in the 3rd floor boss room? Timon then answered with, yes, this place is beautiful, famous back in the days. If he answered, the 3 human face trees, the question. He obtained an item imbued with abilities as a gift, but the problem lay in his extremely difficult question. He had yet to see a human. And then, in a few moments, he also came here to answer his questions. Jinhyuk then said, yes. Try to give me the pleasure of questions very well. Then if he answers all 3 questions, he will give him. He is one of his maple leaves. But if he even gave, he one wrong answer, he will punish. The first question is, what is the ideal water level and temperature for Kelgorn seawater species? To live on, said Timon, isn't this question just designed to be answered wrong? Yuna then says, who might know that Jinhyuk later said the answer was depth of 175 meters and 1.5 degrees Celsius. Jinhyuk then said, give me the next question. The tree then replied with, he didn't say, was he right or wrong? But Jinhyuk then replied with, I know it's true. So give me the next question. Very well, this question won't be easy. The second question, how did he take the dose of filinous sponge tissue? Jinhyuk answered by hardening it with desert salt sunlight, and the progress of the two water-holy priests for 5 hours. The tree then said, that's right. The giant eagle of the sky plates self-made last question, of course, once a year when the answer is on the first snowfall day on the tower. And then, he's the first human to ever answer all my questions. Jinhyuk then said, it's nice for him too long because he can talk about the tower as promising to give you any maple leaf he wants, red, yellow, or green, whichever one he would choose. Jinhyuk then approached the tree and said, handing over the black leaf that he hid the tree, replied with how he knew about the black leaf. Please, I can't give you that. I can give you another leaf, but I can't give you the black leaf. The venerable and almighty human face tree told him. Then she would give him the maple leaf he wanted, if he answered all of his questions correctly, but he was talking too much, stopped talking, and handed over a black leaf that he didn't think of, tarnishing the honor of the tree spirit. What will happen if the administrator knows about this? Distributes gifts, according to the promise of the tree spirit that he has obtained. Black leaves 1280 pieces. Jinhyuk then said finally he has the last piece of the puzzle. Should I come out? Jinhyuk then attacks the guardian of the tree. It gained some experience while advancing the third-floor boss room. Jinhyuk then saw that there were some intruders of the floor where he should be alone. During this demon mission, the humans here, they fought for it or not. The battle was a little wonky. Support us, keep pushing them out. Let's increase the momentum and destroy them all. Range attack away from the enemy. Raised a shield to protect himself. He looked over there. A man wearing a mask attacked us. The magicians then ordered their skeletons, summoned to attack him, but Jinhyuk ran towards the guardians of the floor to avoid their attacks. Jinhyuk then cast his skill thanks to the stars, to attack skeletons as a skill. It was a good skill for the undead of the necromancer. Then said, can we not control them? Because the divine power of one of the necromancers at that time said Lord Cedric, who was in third place, had destroyed. He then said, I can see that without him telling him what happened here. 4 positions created efficiently ordered. The third undead monster has been destroyed. If the network is destroyed by destroying the first position, the whole structure will collapse. Jinhyuk then aggro the monsters, so will follow him and lead to the necromancer who controls the undead army. Jinhyuk just then went behind the necromancer and told them he couldn't stop it. So monster jumped where necromancer, it was another necromancer, then came to Cedric and said the first position has also been destroyed. We will be surrounded at this rate. Cedric then screamed and said, what kind of revenge did he have to fight us to keep ruining our plans every time? Cedric then used his skills as from the pyramids. Then one of the necromancers said to Cedric, if he used it here, he wouldn't do it, having the remaining mana to face the boss monster. Cedric angrily said, I will use my full strength so that I can kill you. The unknown Cedric then called out to him the guardian of the pyramid trump card to attack Jinhyuk. Cedric then said, it seemed he was overexerting himself. Cedric then leech his comrade's life, regained some of his strength. Jinhyuk saw this and said, he even absorbed it. What psycho ally Cedric is now back in the power he lost and says, Jinhyuk, I made you wait now. We will get him back there. Cedric then screams and says, what does he think of the strongest troop? He is now a mummified army. He can freely utilize their steel-hard bandages. They have the true defense and attack power. The strongest undead I have to save. They reach the boss on the 3rd floor. But at least he will save face if I kill you here, so just die. You are good for no masked man, Melina then said. Isn't that masked man more fearless than he thought? It's been a long time since then. He has seen Cedric explode. His intent to ruin the structure was good, but he was a fool not to get out of there. After he had to miscalculate the difference in overall strength between him and his opponent, He must have thought it was manageable from seeing only the skeleton and the complete Death Knight. Misjudging Cedric's unique abilities was far more troublesome than that. Given the circumstances, there's not even a need for us to do it. Intervention Melina then looks at something and says what she was doing there. Then because your sword is sharp and strong, but its weakness is that the power is scattered because he puts too much. Force into it. Look at this rope that a true master can do exerts several times the force, with the same force as the wind envelops the land of its own air and fluidity. And on the right, when stretched out strongly, he wants to try to apply it to the soul. He chases the sword. And then a system notification came in and said, a portion of the skills sold chasing the sword had reproduced dramatically, increasing the understanding of Cedric's soul chase skill sword, then saying, this whirlpool of mana is strong enough to be drawn, everything around Jinhyuk then threw it. Fifth movement soul chasing sword dance, soul chasing heaven annihilation. Cedric is pulled into war, mana vortex, and so is defense. He throws his skill, Cedric shield then mumble and say not yet. And then, even half a year since reality changed how he already possessed it, nonsensical power due to the strong power of the mana whirlpool. The staff Cedric used was shattered into pieces, being unable to withstand Jinhyuk's attack. Cedric was now on the ground, and then he said, I have to run from here, this is never a battle he can win. Cedric then screams and says, someone please stop him, immediately protect him at all costs. This is an order, but people around him are either dead or already busy fighting to live. Then, they themselves, Jinhyuk then said to him, acting all high and mighty, and then ran miserably away when he was about to lose. He thought he learned from you. Cedric then said, then he must be Jinhyuk, rank 16S. How could that be? He doesn't know Jinhyuk. This then says to Cedric to send his greetings, him to disciple people as part of his reward for joining the raid. Jinhyuk then transmitted him a fire elemental skill, and said to Cedric, we'll send you to him, because he might be bored by himself while walking on the stairs leading to the boss room. Jinhyuk said it must be hard to digest. The annihilation of the heavens chasing the soul is so, suddenly at this level he might have pushed himself a bit, but that would be a big loss, not to come here now. But I'll push myself a bit longer. The shield flew all the way here first. He used to play with the shield back in the day, how nostalgic Jinhyuk was, now facing the temple guards, 4/4 heavenly kings. The heavenly king attacked Jinhyuk, but he was able to fend off the attack using the shield, and he says, if you guys stay still. Jinhyuk then dodges their combined attacks and quickly counterattacks them using his normal attacks. Jinhyuk then said to the four, the celestial king, to spit out the key, was tired of attacking them. Suddenly 2 heavenly kings fell down and Jinhyuk attacked them with his shield and said, give me the key now or they will turn to dust. One of them, the heavenly king, then called out for the key that Jinhyuk was looking for. Then a notification system came in and said, the key leading to the main hall reacted. The creature outside the gate responded to Jinhyuk's call, then said he was more determined than he thought. He called her brother is right on the bat, notices the assistant comes in and says, a monster named Thousand-Armed and Thousand-Eyed Valika tests for a make it happen long time ago. Since then, the 4 heavenly kings summoned me, thinking that there are humans among the colonizers who could pose a threat. Even the key inside this stone pagoda has nothing to kill. This floor boss is also truly a brash human who will acknowledge your bravery. If not anything what Jinhyuk said, then you have to think, he is what he looks like. He is tired. So let's end this, the boss monster then said. He wanted to chat with him a little longer, but I think our intentions are not mutual. That Jinhyuk replied with, he didn't shatter the boss monster statue, then said, every second is a stupid gift. And he enjoyed the moment, so he would miss this moment when he was on the verge of death. And then, the boss monster attacked Jinhyuk with a beam attack, but Jinhyuk used his shield to block the attack, which the boss monster gave to Jinhyuk at that time. His body feels like it's going to break into pieces, but I have to endure it. He only has one chance, boss monster, then says to think that you can react to Sonic's attacks. He praises him for that. He increases his interest. He gets more Jinhyuk, then cast it, an ice formation skill to create an ice wall that could protect it from the boss monster's attack. As the ice wall crumbled from the attack, the surroundings were shrouded in mist. And then the boss monster said, "For you to use some dirty magic, Jinhyuk." Then threw his shield towards the boss monster, but the boss monster was able to catch him and said, "What an idiot that young man was." The boss monster's shallow trick looked over one shoulder and saw that there was a dagger in it. Then, Jinhyuk, you said boss monster rot in two shallow trick succession. The boss monster said what he did, something like poison shouldn't work on him. His name is the devil bloodlock that he can handle. The amount of continuous damage, after he hit even one enemy boss monster injury, then said it doesn't matter. Little tricks won't work the second time around. And what would he do from just taking an arm away from him? Well, take an arm away from you, and that's nothing. And then if I want to kill Aya, he also knows the same thing won't work twice on Dia. But does he know that he gets what he wants from Dia the boss monster? Then mumble, and said once aiming the gem arm it's attached from early self-blame for thinking that one arm is insignificant. The system notices then said combine grimoire of the Felterus kingdom and thousand-armed Valika test for his jewel. The combination was successful. He has got the Golden Dawn lemon. After the combination Jinhyuk, then his skill eye from the gluttony of his copy, the condition of taunting the opponent for 5 minutes, using ice magic and creating a large and beautiful statue of him, but a suitable song and proper clothing must accompany the fulfillment. And then, Jinhyuk's condition then says he doesn't see it's his fault, and this system statue actually grows crazier and crazier by the minute no matter how eccentric the condition is. He can't give up. This is the one and only place where he can get Miala below 25th floor, young man. What does he think he is doing? I beg you please don't ask anything from here on out. He is really looking stupid with this, and he really hates him, boss monster, very furious, and says, "How dare you play around in front of me?" Then the boss monster then activated his own, and he said, "I'll let you experience a million's worth of pain." While Jinhyuk then cast his skills into the formation glacier to create a huge block of ice. The glacier formation was able to block the attack of the boss monster. Jinhyuk at that time said the ice advanced version of the formation must be amazing. 2 agents of the Human Demon Association witnessed the fight between Jinhyuk and the boss monster, and they were amazed, because Molina said, he turned on the music all of a sudden and against the thousand-armed Avalika test, for he also can't believe it. He improved his ice magic so far already. Why is he wearing a wig? Out of nowhere it looks like a worn-out wig from the Cyclops man's coin exchange. Mumble and said what an unexpected man to think. That unknown will challenge the thousand-armed Avalika test to start it immediately. And then, after slaying Cedric with the overwhelming strength of a boss monster he could barely get his hands on, just having passed the 10th floor, he truly deserved to be called the second boss of the 3rd floor. But it was a man who faced such a thing head-on, had come a long way. Beyond the human realm, let's give up. He can't do this ourselves, need support. At least an executive Lee then says, if we do that, the position we climbed after all this time will collapse at once. Molina then says, then what he wants to die just because of him. Want it, hold your ground. Lee then said, I think it's time to use this item. Jinhyuk then said, would he see who looks like Cedric wasn't the only one sent by the human demon boss monster. Then said, how dare you turn your back on me, young man? Jinhyuk then cast his fire elemental and said sorry about that. He was a bit distracted fixing my hair. Jinhyuk once again cast his glacier formation and attacked the boss monster and said thanks to you. I felt the tension between the two exchanging attacks from time to time, and the battle between them was to get a fierce monster. The boss activated its skill inescapable lattice to trap it. And then the boss monster said, defending all he could where the confidence he was from before, went the boss monster, then unleashed several attacks from all of its hands. The boss beast. Unleashed's beam of light bounced around inside the dome randomly, but Jinhyuk casts his skill of glacier formation. Protecting himself from the beam of light of glacier formation is indeed a powerful skill, being able to withstand the light beam from that boss monster. The boss monster then says it's useless. Resistance, no matter what he does, he can't win against him. The boss monster then cast its skill called Displeasure to shrink the dome and torture it inside the dome. Then the boss monster summons his swastika spear and plans to attack Jin while he is inside the dome. The boss monster then destroys the glacier formation, and it shatters into pieces. Then Jinhyuk suddenly says such a small trick won't work the second time. Jinhyuk then got out of nowhere and flew to the boss monster to attack Jinhyuk, then cast the glacial prison and trapped the boss monster. Do you know how much you hate me? Ice magic grieves me. How can one be said to have attained nirvana? Through self-discipline to be so prejudiced, there is nothing better than shock treatment for such an obsession. And then, he will do it cause him endless pain in Avicii. He will reincarnate you into a bug 1,000 times over. From a system notification came in and said, conditions have been met. He has now copied a unique ability called Miala Jinhyuk, then used Miala and implanted it with the statue he made, and said he would use Miala is very good from now on. Jinhyuk then threw the statue with a force like that of a spear towards the boss monster. The boss monster was then hit directly with the statue and shattered into pieces with the statue, and was defeated by Jinhyuk immediately. After Jinhyuk defeated the boss monster, he getting a few levels from him, and then picking up the key he was willing to use to summon the final boss. Third floor, Jinhyuk planned to get some supplies first before he summoned the final boss. And then, he said these guys are always so hard to deal with. But anyways, Cedric and this boss monster certainly don't push away. He should invest his stats into his mana so that on the next fight, he won't get tired due to lack of mana. The environment of the Tower of Trials are a bit special at night, when the temperature drops drastically, and the aggression and attack power of monsters also greatly increases. That's why when night falls, most of the players come out of the tower or stop hunting, and find a safe place to think he can experience this feeling, that he couldn't get anywhere else. But here, after a long time, he had to copy some cooking-related skills next. But then Jinhyuk noticed that someone was coming towards him. Molina then said, we also have to spend the night. So can we stay with you till sunrise? Lee followed up with, we have to leave before the knife falls, but we can't. Jinhyuk then replied to them by definitely sitting down and also having prepared lots of food, have some, and feel free to eat as much as he wants. Lee then said, I appreciate his good intentions, but we try not to eat food offered by anyone we don't know, especially if the person hides his face. And then, Jinhyuk countered with, are you bothered by masked? Lee said. No, and obviously he should wear a mask because you have something to hide. Jinhyuk said something to hide. Yes, if you are really bothered by that, he can let it go for him. But since it would be boring to just let it go, let's play a simple game that we surely have a lot of questions for each other. So let's take turns to ask each other. 3 questions as long as he answers all 3 questions. He questions, he will take off Lee's mask, then mutters and said, as long as you answer the questions, he said it's fine. If we give him fake information, he has no way to find out. Are we telling the truth or not? He doesn't know who he is planning, but we have nothing to lose from here. Then let's decide who goes first with this coin. And he bet on heads. Looks like we went first to ask it you. Questioning the Caligula's coin designates a target and infuses mana into the coin for 5 minutes. And then, it can dominate the target's mind for a moment. A period of time he is sure he won't answer, even if he asks your name and affiliation. Did he come here with comrade Jinhyuk? Then muttered and said, what is the realistic question he should try to confirm each variable? Jinhyuk then answered them, with him coming here by himself. From the looks of it, you were also aiming for the boss. So why were you just observing until now? He must have seen him in battle with the sub-boss. We waited for the right time to enter the temple. We have to be careful, Heart, because it's a very famous place while you climb that tower for glory money or whatever other reason. Jinhyuk mumbled and said, if I meet the requirements, it looks like he's also thinking about persuading him. Then Jinhyuk said to them, I wonder he can do something about it if he says he wants something. Of course, if we agree on something, we did a lot more for him. Then he thought the last time he asked is if he answers this, he will take off his mask as promised. The Human Devil Association seriously thinks someone like you two can really deal with him. He already knows that he know who we are. He has confirmed how strong you are with my own eyes. Then the masked man thought, he'll be careful of sub-boss monster himself. But aren't you pushing yourself too hard? We already know. He's so weak, and if that happens, then even the 2 of us are too much. Actually, this is more than enough to deal with him. as Molina pointed the coin at him so the effect of the coin could attack him. Much to his surprise, the effect of the coin didn't activate it. When he pointed, it was for Jinhyuk. What reason wasn't it activated? Was this coin broken or something? Caligula's coin was fine. The problem was he can't use mana. And then, that's why the effect is off. Lee then screams and says our plan is seen through Molina. He switches to plan B. Use your skills. Molina then says none of his skills are working. Jinhyuk at that time activates his skills. Then the system notice later said the spirit of the temple satisfied with sincerity. He chose a warrior to carry out the judgment. Anubis the totem pole. Great general of all under heaven has been appointed as the totem pole warrior. The great general of the underworld has been designated as warrior. There is no way. I have never heard of anything like this. The guardian deity of the land was the great general of all under heaven and the great general of the underworld. Then he was so tired, and by the way, he shouldn't move so recklessly. It would also be impossible to escape from it either. Then the assistant notices saying the great general of the underworld is activating his skill, doesn't come in. Lee then attacks Jinhyuk and says, these things disappear as long as he dies, the masked man. Another system notification came and said, the great general of all under heaven is activating his skill, and it is an exemplary punishment. Then the general of all under heaven was pinched by its huge hand, and it attacked Lee repeatedly until Lee died. Molina was very scared. When he saw what happened, Lee Dan said, I told you we have to do it. Ran at the start. Jinhyuk then approached Molina and said, since then it looks like we have more or less established a leader. Can we have a chat now? Then Jinhyuk activated his eyes of gluttony, but the skill activation failed because there was a large level gap between them. Then he said, he hopes he will do so. Answer the questions that she will ask him honestly. And then, at least know about him, Devil Man, since I heard a lot about him. But what he doesn't know is motive. He of humanity will go extinct if we don't climb that tower. Why is he bothering the players? Listen carefully. It's policy. He never forgives those who aim to live him, but he may let them live. If they give him useful information, he doesn't know the real name of the person who sent us to kill you too. But we called the person like there are 11 others. Executive besides him, but he doesn't know much about them, since he is an assassination division. Executive said that if he collects all 12 the cursed artifacts, we can survive, even if humanity becomes extinct, and will receive a large amount of reward for that. He doesn't know what else. These were as many as he could find. And the 12 cursed artifacts, they were crazier than that. He expected they weren't. The Human Association's ultimate goal is to summon the demon lords as well. What is this about them surviving even if the human race is extinct? He has to calculate my plans while considering this from now on. Thank you for giving him useful information. He is of great help. I will keep my promise with you. After this, he signed the contract. The contract stated he would do everything he said from now on. Jinhyuk then activated his skill, Brand Tribulation, after resting for a few days and getting enough supplies. That he needed Jinhyuk now went to activate the lock to summon the final boss of the third floor. The final boss of the third floor finally appeared with his soldiers. Jinhyuk then activated his skill eye, Gluttony, to check the information about the final boss. System notification then said, copying ability or skill is impossible. Because of the level difference, though countless, humans have challenged Soldier. He is the first to summon him using the button. But where is your army? Mohan has 100,000 stone statue soldiers with him. Jinhyuk then summoned the first chessboard, then system notification, then said activate the first chessboard, summoned 2851 mana-infused chess pieces. What is the original idea for sure? He will be able to act as a soldier, one person with them, but what can he do? With those little things, Jinhyuk answered by waiting for him. He's not done yet. You'll see the notification system soon. Then said using 2581 gigantification pills, light up 2581 mana, to enter a chess piece, admitting that he's not like the others, the human who came before you. I'm pretty impressed with the current Jinhyuk. That having giant chess pieces as his troop, and now ready to take on the troop of the third floor boss, Miss Yuri. How many more chess pieces should we make? At least give us the numbers, so we know who we worked up to. Why did he only force us to make these? Suddenly, master, we don't have time to complain. We have made at least more than 2,000 more. We will be killed by Jinhyuk, that demon, if we get on his bad side. Now that this has come, we might as well show him that we are on his side. The confessions of people like a boss wearing blame, only on the third floor is worth nothing. No, he is right. He is on such a high horse. Having only defeated a few weaklings, that's why he stayed on the third floor, because he wasn't strong enough to go any higher. While the boss monsters of the Tower of Trials acted as the gatekeepers of each floor, they also used their influence on the floors they were on. They could also climb the tower like players to gain more strength. What impudent human was he doing? He seriously thought he couldn't overcome the fourth floor because he wasn't strong enough to do so. He's pretty much a poltergeist stuck in the third one. The floor will ramble on all you want, agitating your opponent like that be your plan. But let him show it to Dia that there is an absolute difference in our strengths, and that his tactical advantage cannot be surpassed. Mohan then orders the squadron first to move forward and launch a follow-up attack. The strength of 1,000 he had to try to assess his ability to counterattack. Jinhyuk then activated his first chessboard ability, and then, increasing the attack and defense power of all the chess pieces on the field with 30 pieces at each end of the 3 squares forward, all the troops in the first line set up the defensive line of the army. Activated their skill iron persistence, and the 2 troops clashed with each other, and then he ordered his rook to activate their skill. The barrage of arrows hit the soldiers at the forefront, but some of them were able to defend themselves, using the shield. And then, the bishops activated fire skills. They strike fire strike was a fire tornado wreaking havoc on the battlefield. He annihilated the face of the strength of 1,000 units, not bad at all. Second Squadron and Third Squadron advance, 100 chess pieces. Knights turn chess knight. Each enemy piece activating the wedge formation increases the collision damage by 200 and above. Impact Jinhyuk then says, "We will take through them in flash." Jinhyuk then clashed with the enemy soldiers who didn't expect them to be attacked. From their side, he was quite proficient as a comic. Perfect transition between attacking and defending accurately, timing command. But what was it opening he left on their side it seemed to be good for came true as if poisoned. He was activating his skill called weakness detection, so he could defeat them instantly as long as I could destroy the crown. How dare I wonder? Why would he make a mistake that not even beginners would succeed? That's not the case, and he told me to come in. And if he dares, there are about 3,000 of them, including 15-meter units that he knows. He will target the base. As soon as he leaves, ignore them. The enemy's defense is 3,000 units weaker. He already realized that this is a trap to pull me into it. Attacked the crown by leaving gaps in your defense on purpose. Muhan's army fought the army, Jinhyuk, and was able to approach Alice as the queen, Jinhyuk's army, so he managed to crawl all the way here. He must praise he for coming this far with such a small army. And then, why didn't he cut with it? He knew he paved the way for her on purpose. He knew it was whatever trap he entrusted the crown to a skinny girl, and came all the way here with just that much army. Nothing else. What he can expect from you, I will finish you off right. When Alice said, "Will you really be everything, right on his own?" Jinhyuk replied with reason. "Are you worrying about me?" Alice then said, "That person is not third floor. What is this for? Is the first time he saw you praising someone so much." And then, he said that he was stronger than him. Alice replied with, "How dare he as you compare the High Lord tonight to the stone-headed the stone giant?" Then attacked Alice. Then Alice activated her skill. Blood Spear counterattacked the stone giant while attacking took the stone giant. Alice said, "How dare you try to put your hand on my head? She has no right to touch a noble like me." Alice activates her skill, bursts of blood, and attacks the entire soldier of stone giants surrounding her. Then how is this possible? How can it be so weak? Girl has your greatest strength. Blunders got me this close, while assuming with certainty that the advancing army could beat the queen. Jinhyuk then activated his blood demon lock. Then Blackleaf reacted to the demon lock blood. Meanwhile, it was forged into Jinhyuk's weapon and created a new attribute for the weapon's mental damage. It dealt continuous decay damage, and the target of the attack would be unable to distinguish friend from foe. Jinhyuk then threw his weapon into the air. Enemy soldiers, while in the air, the weapon releases a dust-like shine. It lands on several enemy troops. The sparkle then affects the enemy troops with a mental breakdown status. Then the entire troop movement is in chaos and relentlessly attacks anyone around them, even if is their ally. He's soldiers and tactics. He can't believe they're all ruined by one person. Hey, Poltergeist, stop panicking, you look weak. Then Jinhyuk cast him glacier formation to block the rear movement, so that he couldn't escape. The big statue that Movin controlled then attacked Jinhyuk and his group of horsemen. Jinhyuk then activated his skill Miala, and then set his habit of handing over everything to his subordinates. After he was pushed into a corner, was the same as always. Jinhyuk then made an ice bow, and the Miala that he created was an arrow for a bow, so he launched an attack on Muhan. And Muhan is hit by Miala's arrow though. Muhan is a boss. He is a type of summoner boss who is lacking in physical and magical defense. If his summons are defeated, he can then be defeated easily, without too much effort. People around the world receives a notification. The boss of the third floor has been defeated, and the third floor has been conquered successfully. Everyone is happy for this news. 90 more days, countdown to defeat the boss of the fourth floor. After the fight, Jinhyuk then gained a few more levels from defeating the boss monster. Then he said he can put all his stats where for the next boss. Come take my gift. The treasures he can get from killing boss monsters can be differentiated by their colors. He can get floors 10 and below. Everything is red, the lowest rank, but the orange rank box appears. But that must be thanks to the Monopoly effect where he can get the best reward. If I Hunt You Alone has got top priority. Pink diamond ticket squishy grain, natural water solar power seed, and fire spouting eclipse slug. Rock is not an effect Monopoly, way too crazy. And then, if you forget what Monopoly skill has, is it a skill that gives the best maximum reward he can get? When he defeats a monster without help from anyone else or includes a party with this, he might score really big when he conquers the boss fourth floor as well. Monopoly is a skill that is highly mastered, has returned at the base of Olympus, the 4 leaders and representatives of the apex for the guilds in Korea having met again. And then, they couldn't believe that Jinhyuk was able to beat the third floor boss monster by himself, and everyone was happy about it. Thank God we bought 90 days worth of time for the next floor. He really should prepare well for the fourth floor boss. He seriously thought this kind of government benefits us in every way. The way he should get all the piggybacks on his videos from now on. What are we waiting for the world he's talking about? All of a sudden, we are the ones who are about to join forces with the Human Devil Association. After continuously failing the raid, thanks to him, humanity obtained 90 days' time, without Devil's human help. How could he say something like that about someone helping us? Such a crisis can't be helped. Then he will withdraw from the conference, starting today and so on non-group conferences. What he can enter and leave as a help is a super elite group that only allows entry, those who are the most adequate in saving humanity. Once you go, you can never come back. Jinhyuk then received the call. Teacher Grandpa did not open his eyes. Then he replied with, "Where are you now? The legendary martial artist at the top of the world. South Korea's martial arts is the first time he's seeing Manhwa, who is always tough, cheerful, and bright like this. Could you please tell her what exactly happened so that she can gain an understanding of the situation?" And then he thought it started happening not long ago, after the Trials Tower appeared. Did he remember the plague in Grandpa's concern? The scene, even though Grandpa, who woke up during the plague, managed to subdue the monsters, he couldn't fully recover after being heavily injured that day. And his state has been getting better for the worse recently. So this person is Cheon Yuen, the man who used to be called the strongest man in Korea. His copy of his condition is death. Almost certain if he saves his life, he can copy one of his skills. He really is someone who has never entered the tower. What happened? And then he suddenly left, just to bring along a celebrity who knew nothing but how to fight back. He didn't know why he was here. But even an awakened S-ranker wouldn't be able to do anything here. He already knew he would a long time. He just came to see. If there is anything he can do, he saw he almost came to a misunderstanding. He was just nervous that the famous he laid his hands on, even the world healing how frustrated. He thinks he should bring him here the greatest. The experts of this field are looking for, after him, but why Grandpa didn't show up. He's fine, we did our best, but we lacked time for it. Researched every disease caused by the Tower of Temptation. With our current medical expertise, he wants to understand the fact that we are doing our best here. It seems that the cultivation technique elders and the Mana Tower collided with each other, and then, causing a comatose state, that we want to try a healing method that involves magic crystals, which we are currently researching, but the material cost is quite expensive. Don't worry about money. He will prepare it for you. Even if I have to sell the whole dojo, he doesn't care as long as grandfather can recover. What kind of BS is he spouting to scam? What is he good for? This is so unpleasant, even if he's young. The female guest, he can't just spout whatever he wants, what he tries after. Even if we get caught, there is no way he can find out about 7 name loan accounts and crypto wallets. Even if he is. God, look at you loan name accounts and even crypto wallets. How far he has gone, what a lie barefaced. Does he have proof? Don't just accuse us. We don't know what is wrong with this person. How much does he know? Could he also know that we have made a contract with the Guild of Black Cloud, and the residents are waiting for what is the contract with Black Cloud? The Guild and the residents are the residents of the Tower of Trials. And then, contracting with humans, he didn't believe Hong would contract with the residents. In the eyes of the human residents was an outsider threatening the tower as it was, they thought. And where did he think? He went since he did. He must really be hiding something. If Grandpa dies, he'd better give till get out of here alive. He's just trying to get seizure medicine. Why are you suddenly acting like this? Thanks to us, that your grandfather's condition is only this bad. He's still spouting nonsense after caught. Please kick him once Mona's sickness and severe normal people will die in a long time. Then I can't let him die. I will use this elixir. And then, if necessary, his friendship with him, whom he has known for a very long time, is important. Other than that, there's no way I'd let the chance of copying a skill from a big shot like him slip, provided the conditions have been fulfilled. He has now properly copied the skill divine flower cultivation technique. He can now absorb mana from the atmosphere. And once using mono, Aya recovery will increase by 30% and can make the body look youthful just from learning it. What will he do with it? Would he kill him? He doesn't kill people just because they scam someone out of their money. He would let him go if he returns all the money that he scammed. Does he want to live or do you want to die? Alice says, you really will let him go like that, not like you. Kang Jinhyuk then replied with of course not. Alice followed him to find out who he went to see. He wouldn't get anything useful out of obstacles like him. Understand? Please then go follow him. Sir, there is something I want to ask you. When he woke up, what happened during the epidemic? It all happened when I was heading to a conference. He was in the car and we were heading to a conference. When suddenly a portal appears ahead, from us out of nowhere. Then suddenly a monster like a spider comes out of the portal and starts attacking the people around him. He has to get out of the car and defend the people who are being attacked by the monsters that appear. Suddenly he evacuated people around here. He will keep those creatures in bay and evacuate as much as he can. From this, he saw that there are some useful people among outsiders. Well then, we will play first. I can more or less taking care of this gigantic monster. But my fist didn't reach this man. No matter how hard he tried, at that time he received a punch from that mysterious man, from inside the portal. And after that I suddenly blocked that last one. Memory I have never seen someone have command over sword who was so fast. Oriental hair and clothes, if Elder was telling the truth. Then it meant that Miriam's faction who controlled 21 floors had started to move. Unfathomable. Because they, even while he was playing, what game could they be planning? They had to go so far as to pry their way into reality. The man who attacked you was an inhabitant of the tower. He never expected them to come out of the tower. Things might have gotten more complicated than he expected. It was only a few months after the tower appeared that the people who were the most too tall were those who had awakened or whoever called themselves experts. But something was different about him. How should he say it like he had been angry endlessly, and he could see that he knew bitter taste, victory, and defeat through all kinds of hardships, and how experienced he was through overcoming them. After a few days, everyone received notifications, said the unknown player has announced the start of Conquest of the 4th floor. We request all players who will be challenging the 4th floor to get ready. The first wave will start in 8 hours. And then, the guild then said, gather all the rankers. This is an emergency. Everyone is panicking because it hasn't been more than 10 days since the 3rd floor has been conquered, and they are still not even prepared for this because there is a 90-day lag before the trial. The 4th floor ends. We only have 8 hours and we have nothing to prepare what the BS is. He thought to pull something like this stupid unknown 4th floor tower. Trial is 100 waves, consisting of normal and special zombies. There are only 2 ways for players to block them. Either optimally set thousands of defense tower combinations, or choose a base that can be defended efficiently. And then, he was the first to enter the 4th floor of the trial tower. Other players can enter the 4th floor in 20 minutes. Using the high-priority base ticket, he has now selected the Sangnam World Stadium, the Cup as a defense base. He now uses the following item to spread grain slippery slope, planting 5 solar-powered seeds, and using natural water increases the speed of plant growth by 20%. Then that it's good, because most of the big famous guilds are participating. This basic defense is sorry to call you all here. Suddenly things are progressing faster than expected, so he didn't have time to explain he heard. That he needs at least 5 people to defend the base, but he knows that there are only 4 of us here, right? Don't worry about that. The last person will be in the group. We will be coming soon. Kang Jinhyuk will kill you. He is useless. And then Kang Jinhyuk messaged him. He said run to the starting point from the 4th floor within an hour. If he came, he would confront him without using his left arm and right leg, and even one eye he would close. Was that a deal? Chicken sword attribute item that covers his weakness long-range combat. Swordsman by incorporating elemental magic into the weapon. He knows he will get it how readable he can get. The sword attribute is not bad, but it needs to be finished to display its full power. It's a coincidence. That random box is appeared on this floor, including items that could equip swords of that attribute that belonged to him. The fire attribute was what he wanted to completely stop bullying. The random box, like its name was, random. And then, he will never know what will come out. That is not, he already knows that he prefers the abnormal shortcut that he will give. He is also, if he participates in the defense. So let's agree to fight. After that, he finishes the item better, came out of that random box. Then the assistant notification said, a party of 5 people has been made, the minimum number of members, for basic defense has been met. Kang Jin-hyuk, he almost forgot Grandpa asked him to send this to him. He really appreciate. So how about he got it? Kang Jinhyuk replied the way he thought. That he had taken a liking to him personally. He knew the past artifacts obtained enough mana to rival artifacts, because the Tower of Trials. But more than that was extraordinary. After touching it differed the top ranks of the top guilds in each country, formed a team to participate in the defense base. Will this be just basic defense, or will this be an all-out war to see who is the best among them? Then, since people all over the world were looking at this basic defense, that's a pattern, there's no doubt about it. He's one of the Murim members on the 21st floor of the Black Cloud Guild, and now that the triads are so true that the residents are extending their influence outside the tower. My name is Nam Gung, and Kang Jin-hyuk replied, if you want to introduce yourself, please stop. I've heard about how stupid that wusses from Nam Gung family is, Nam Gun family. And then, one of the aristocratic families of the 21st floor of the Murim Tower trials. The world, even though they were highly trained, their pride elite penetrated the sky. The condition of the coffee that he had met with a resident of another Murim citizen who came with him hidden among the triads that he could copy. One of his skills after he found all of them. There are other citizens here besides Namgun. This is a bit exaggerated, just for coming to fight. Whatever their goals, he just needs to copy his skills that everyone prepares for battle. And the battle between humans starts before the base defense. Even starting an all-out war between rankers from different parts of the world against Kang Jin-hyuk's party is imminent starting team and activates his unique ability, King Machine. Then he summons a tank that can protect them, using his ranged attacks. then activated her skill, Refusal to Retreat Mana. The damage she received is reduced by 15. As long as she doesn't retreat, she is a combat class ranker, where she specializes in close-range combat. Teresa takes her position at the back, and she also specializes in close range. Then, quarter battle. Jinhyuk said, "I need about 3 minutes. Can you buy me that much? Time is not necessary for that, because he will take care of them all by myself." Teresa activates her sacred skills, Reinforcement, and activates Battle Song to face the enemy them behind them. Side Song Battle Song affects their entire party and gives them an increase to all stats by 5 for 10 minutes. And then he attacks their enemies using many missiles from his tank, which hits many enemies. Meanwhile, Yin, who attacks them head-on and confronts the enemy troops close to his Namgoon, says, "This drama doesn't seem to consist of really good bugs. His reflexes seems to have handled a sword before. But that was nothing more than a punch. A punch without any foundation. He would personally show what was right. The swordsmanship of a noble family looks like Namgoon, then activated his skill king sword form to attack the chin with full force. He was having a hard time blocking the attack since he opponent was on another level than him, and far superior to him in terms of combat ability and strength. Teresa then helped Chien, because he was having a hard time facing the enemy. Then Jinhyuk showed up to help them face their enemy leader. Jinhyuk then threw his a fire elemental skill, where surrounded Namgoon in an instant. Jinhyuk then jumped into the air. And then, Namgoon says he's stupid. He puts himself in a position where he can't avoid. People don't usually look twice at the same place, they just sweep. He should always double-check. Jinhyuk then cast his skill during the day to attack Namgoon and Fair. Then before Namgoon was about to be hit by noon, a mysterious man suddenly appeared and blocked Jinhyuk's attack. A strong backup finally appeared. Will Jinhyuk and his group be able to face this person? The person from the 21st floor of the test tower, the man said. He didn't think someone from outside the tower would do it, having this much internal energy. The girl. Then said indeed he wasn't the first one, they were all finally here. System notification came and said, "He has found all the residents in the triad conditions have fulfilled. He has succeeded in copying the skill Infinite Step. Combine Infinite Step and Grave Sword now. He has the Demon King's sword skill step movement, speed increased by 70, after use, and can also be used as a form of attack. If mana is focused on the mysterious man's feet, then ask Namgoon. And then, is he okay?" She then replied with him, He's fine," the mysterious man then said, "We don't doubt his skills, but do not forget that God's order is not an execution but a conciliation." The girl then said Sister Huangbo is right. If he's planning to be with us, then there's no need to fight. Namgoon replies back with, "I already know something like that. But that guy already knows that we from the tower shocked his comrades. Hearing this information, screw conciliation. He has to kill at least that guy of all people. He doesn't like him. He understands your anger, but we have to go. This is not the place for us now. There's a wave of zombies coming from right, and they are 3 minutes away. This stadium is ours, so look for another place," Jinhyuk said. Then the mysterious man said, "We won't pick up trash like that location, even if he asks us to. We already have our base alone." It was much more extraordinary than a place like this. It was as big as a construction site experiment. And then, in order to defend, we will return. Once the first wave is over, then he orders it. Troop said, "Move to the base and build a strong point. You all move it. Consider yourself lucky this time. But I won't let my guard down when we face each other." After the first wave of friends launched their drones and saw a very large number of zombies who came up to them and said, "Can we really stop those zombies ourselves? And he didn't choose this place for hype like he used to do in the past. Things it is more useful than it looks." Teresa then said she had never seen a plant this big. The defense tower, she will now explain to her our plan for defense. This please everyone. She gathered the purpose of this base. The defense is to stop the zombies from occupying the flat where she put up the center flag of the stadium so he didn't forget it. The stadium had 4 large entrances in all 4 directions, and after that, he had scattered those plants around each of those entrances. As long as these plants were safe, not only would we be able to protect the large base, we would also be able to aim for the most kill bounty. Using this large field of plants would kill most of them. Zombies that come from every wave, but they need a minute to charge over time, so he needs it to protect the plants. When they are charging for their next attack onwards, everyone takes their positions, and then the zombie waves enter the stadium from all directions. And when the wave of zombies entered the radius of the solar generator's attack range, then activated the skill, the sunlight was very large. The fireball in damage then instantly kills the large number of zombies that enter the stadium. Their strength can't even compare to normal tower defense. This is the time to start guys get ready for that wave of zombies coming towards him, and he tries to survive for a minute. The first wave ends, and all the guilds and rankers who join base defense are able to defeat the first wave, and they get so much experience from it. And then, system notifications came to everyone who participated in the event and broadcast highlights from every voice base. Everyone's popularity saw how Jinhyuk and his party maintained their base, and they couldn't believe it, that only 5 people could maintain it, because most of the guilds participating in the event needed about 50 members at minimum to defend their base. He has gained 1/800 solar energy. That's what he gets by killing zombies. Then because of that, he needs it to strengthen the power plant, plant 1 bullet generator in the east entrance, and south froze the plant in the middle, and the boulder plant in the west, and for the rampage plant he has. The plan is for you, Jinhyuk. Then go outside the stadium to go to a building close to them to check a mysterious mirror. Apparently the mirror acts as a portal that leads to the base. Where Muren's people are, I will kill him no matter what, and I will not let him live, the girl then said. He usually disapproved of him, but not this time. But he thought he was absolutely right for once. No matter how much we need to increase our strength, there is no need to take someone hard to control. We have secretly made contact with many outsiders until now, but none of them have ever known the identity we were like. He did. How in the world did he know we might as well get rid of him? Like he said, Jinhyuk brought berserker plants, basic morose people, to destroy supplies. Them, and said he had brought housewarming gifts, except my little cherry here. Quite lust. The food he could see was not all the food he had in the storage room. And then he yelled at him and said whatever he was thinking of doing, stop this. Jinhyuk instantly replied with, why should I stop, you daredevil? Do you have any idea what are you doing now? Jinhyuk replied with, did he speak about the queen of the Murim people? Shocked what they heard and said, how did he know about the queen appearing when the base of 200 people or more defense was destroyed? Before the third wave, the 4th floor ruler, the mother of the dead, also known as the queen. Then he asked how to fill in the number, but luckily you guys set up your base here. The queen is impossible to beat even if everyone here is joining forces. Why would someone who already knows that trying to summon her facing 100 waves of zombies, it's a pain. So just let yourself be destroyed. Don't you dare run. After you said Phil, he came back and fought back. Everyone at the event received a notification stating that the supermarket base had been destroyed. After that, there was a unique incident triggering the master of the 4th floor of Piariel, made a move to punish weak players which made everyone surprised. This notice because they just finished. The first wave when there should be 99 waves before the boss will come out. Jinhyuk then go on top of the building close to the stadium and use the item he got from the 3rd floor boss Eclipse Stone. Jinhyuk then smashed the Eclipse Stone. Suddenly the moon appeared and slowly covered the sun. It turned out to be an eclipse buff. All the monsters around the 4th floor declared a dark amplification, attributability of 100. Teresa was shocked to receive a debuff, declared a light attribute weakening of 50%. Then he said, no way, holy he power is reduced by half of everything. And suddenly the system notification then said, the master of the 4th floor is staring at your master's position on the 4th floor, declaring an all-out attack on the Sangam Stadium base. Jinhyuk then uploaded some videos on his channel, and people saw it like they never did. Saw this before, and the bros kept coming at all the monsters, including the boss of the 4th floor. They quickly rushed towards the stadium where Jinhyuk and his members were. Then there's the team using one of his own tank and launch a long-range missile attack towards the upcoming monster. Sunlight also launches its fireball, attack to minimize the large number of monsters coming to their base. The whole stadium is overrun by hundreds or even thousands. Monster! The fourth-floor boss monster was controlling the fourth-floor boss monster arrived in the middle of the stadium, but then was shocked to see what he saw. The whole party was covered in ice, as if they were in cryogenesis. Then the gem suddenly fell on the iceberg. Then the boss monster picked it up as a boss monster holding a huge magic ice spell gem. And then, suddenly released, it was called Ice Brilliance, the dungeon realm of all the monsters in the stadium, then engulfed in ice magic, including boss monsters. But that kind of spell wouldn't work on boss monsters, and he quickly destroyed the ice magic. Jinhyuk then rushed towards the boss monster's headquarters. Little did the boss monster know that his party was just a distraction, so Jinhyuk was able to get to the bottom of the boss monster, but it was too late for him to do, so knew about this mother of Dedirial Dead, also known as the Queen. Her skill level, and she was very... The fatal poison attack boss of the fourth floor was outstanding, in all aspects except intelligence. But the point of the fourth floor is that this base defense applies to players, as well as zombies. When Jinhyuk rushed towards the Pendry base, he also pushed himself quickly back to his base to defend it. Because all his troops were covered in ice in the stadium, Jinhyuk saw several zombies near his base, so Jinhyuk quickly activated his skill, Grave Sword, and Star Blessing. Jinhyuk saw the flag and was about to get it. When he was suddenly attacked by the watchman, it was protecting the Butcher Queen's flag now. "How will I protect you this time?" Jinhyuk said as he rushed towards the butcher to attack him. Jinhyuk then purposely left his sword in the gun scissors. Butcher then leaped into the air and swiftly threw his flame element in his hand. He then swiftly landed a hard punch on the butcher's head, which seared both of his heads. The recovery speed alone was legendary. But this was more than enough to limit his visibility. Jinhyuk then quickly went behind the butcher and stabbed the butcher, using his two swords. Then Jinhyuk used his skill Miala Big Bang. Then looked from afar. Then the system notification said, "He has leveling up. He has obtained scissors filled with spirit." The vengeful Jinhyuk suddenly received a message saying the Black Hound was revealing their presence. They wished him a proposal as a representative of Egyptian mythology. Being attractive from the blonde point of view of those who ruled the higher floors of the tower, it was hard to admit that fact. And then the fourth floor was cleared without even a proper battle with the boss. The proposal was then given to Jinhyuk by Anubis, and Jinhyuk accepted the proposal and waited for the fourth floor boss to come. The Pendriel arrived at the flag, and it's a wonder why the flag was not touched. And he not there, Jinhyuk then showed himself with the modified scissor weapon he got from the butcher. Jinhyuk then activated his blessing from the stars. Then said even if the rift stat he takes the maximum effect does not have enough stats to kill his Pendriel, suddenly made a move and went backwards. Jinhyuk and him were shocked. About this, Jinhyuk then flew to the nearest building due to the impact when the Pendriel attacks. But Jinhyuk is able to block the attack when he instills the Miala skill into his weapon Pendriel and attacks it several times. And then, however, Jinhyuk activated his skill Demonic Sword King Steps, which gave him a 70% movement speed increase. That's why he was able to dodge Jinhyuk's Pendriel attack, then cast his Glacier Formation skill to prevent the Pendriel from dodging his attack. The Pendriel was then hit in the shoulder, and the attack covered his shoulder with ice. Jinhyuk was able to block it using his weapon. Then he cast him a skill called Requiem of the Dead, in which vines suddenly appeared on the ground to attack Jinhyuk while he was active in the air. While Jinhyuk was still in the air, he took out an item from his inventory, Wolf Tooth and White Branch. This item was an advance that Jinhyuk asked before he accepted the proposal to fight Pierrel, and combined with scissors full of grudge spirits, the combination was successful, and Jinhyuk obtained a new weapon called Sacrifice, severing Scythe, the great god's artifact, which had the effect of absolute judgment. It could kill what couldn't be killed, and could slash what couldn't cut. The system notification then said, the intervention system due to the appearance of artifacts that shouldn't be on the fourth floor. Due to the downward scaling effect, this item can only be used once. Where Jinhyuk couldn't take his head, if he only used his skills and strength alone, because it would take a minimum of 40 highly skilled rankers to defeat. If it wasn't for his weapon, all of this might have gone to the south. He has leveled up. He has successfully defended each member's base and will receive in a random box rank 5 times. Only 24 hours have passed. Since then, the 5th floor is open. He still can't believe it because everyone expected that. It takes at least 20 days to defend against all 100 waves. It must be hard to believe that Jinhyuk and his members cleared them in just 1 day. He thought this was the true strength of Jinhyuk. Rank S uses a ticket. The Great Magic Library. The Magic Library is where he can get all the information about the Tower of Trials, including its hidden secrets. And then, welcome, his name is Rick Hennessy, the manager of this library. Rick Hennessy. He is the administrator of the intermediate grade Big Shot, who manages the Tower of the Great Magic Library experiments. Finally, he has the first meeting with the Tower Administrator. This is something he doesn't see very often. He had never imagined that someone would step foot here so quickly, even if he did manage to set foot here. The fact that he managed to get where he was in a gigantic labyrinth. A library was also in great demand. Interesting, he thought. He happens to be a very lucky person, that's all. He browsed through the books, but there were no books of his level that he could read here. He would need at least a basic understanding of runes language. Jinhyuk then said the solution: enter the 6th circle written by the royal court mage Telemo. Wright should be a player who has just entered the 5th floor. But he already knows about Hue language. Can he ask something he can see? That he is different from the average player alone, from the fact that he managed to enter this place. However, his background seems to be outside the special realm. To be honest, the gods of Egypt were supporting him. That's why he was able to come here as well as learn information about Tower. There's no way this must be the energy of the god Anubis to think they would do it. And then, already showing interest in the player to make amends for him, he would give him a book here as a present as he wanted, to offer a precious guest a gift from the same valley. Was he really all right? That it was indeed a grimoire. Which is good, but because it's written ancient runes, the language can't be read unless it's an ancient species. He then reads part of the hard book to Rick, as expected of someone who has received the blessings of the gods he will look after. Watch over you from now on, and I will so, looking forward to the day we meet again. And then, an assistant notification came to Jinhyuk, stating the sponsor's gift had arrived from the Taro Kingdom, not the Taro Kingdom. The kingdom was hostile to Marim. The strength he had acquired, the skill of fainting smell due to the sponsor from above, the power he had broken from the 5th, the restraint of the floor to think. They gave her gifts while opposing the restriction tower. It seems that it has started approaching players with only potential, such as Miriam. Whether she has entered the 5th floor of the Tower of Trials, she will start from a random location. The use of skills is blocked, and she will receive a random class of item. And then, there is only one rule here. Escape alive is due to Aya's possession of an ancient grimoire, and then one of your skills will be free from restraint. He may now use the Eye of Gluttony. Jinhyuk was sure that he had told Teresa not to follow him, so he asked what was on Teresa's mind that she came all the way here. But Teresa asked Jinhyuk not to nag people who follow him for worrying about him. Jinhyuk became dizzy because now he had to change his plans. A moment later, the others noticed something in their pockets. When Teresa checked her pockets, she got a flashlight and Jinhyuk got a pen. Seeing Jinhyuk who got the pen, Teresa said that it was not very good. But Jinhyuk didn't think so and thought that this pen could come in handy. They then struck a match and were finally able to see a bit. Seeing that, Teresa was about to turn on her flashlight, but she was stopped by Jinhyuk. As the newbies explored this place, people who looked like cultists found them and said there was a sacrifice. They then ran to catch them. They panicked and told him to put out his lighter. While they were being chased, Jinhyuk and Teresa had hidden and were peeking at them. Worried, Teresa patted Jinhyuk on the shoulder and asked if they weren't going to save those people. However, because Teresa was now here, Jinhyuk told Teresa to follow all of his decisions no matter what. He says that they should not show themselves for nothing that matters for now, because Teresa was still not ready for the fight at this point. Hearing Jinhyuk's words, Teresa said that she had underestimated him too much and told him that she had made her own preparations. He then chose 2 stones. He said that this was an exit return stone, which people said was very important to bring to the 5th floor. Jinhyuk patted his face when he saw Teresa buy the stone. Elsewhere, other users were blocking the door to prevent the cultists from entering. Out of urgency, they asked those in the back to help them too, and asked what they were doing. The female player holding the return stone replied that they would run away and called them losers. However, the stone broke when he tried to use it. They panicked because the stone didn't work, even though they also bought one. A moment later, the cultists finally broke in. They were frightened when they saw the cultists breaking in, because he is a very scary big man. At that time, Teresa felt disappointed that the rock was just a scam. Jinhyuk also asked how he could believe it just because it was on broadcast TV. Teresa became very sad because she had bought 2 to give to Jinhyuk. A moment later, they heard a scream in the distance. Turning around at the scream, one could see a cultist hiding in the darkness. He also tried to strangle Teresa while shouting, "Sacrifice for their god!" But Teresa was able to react quickly and slam the cultist. Jinhyuk then kicked the cultist until it crashed into the ceiling. Other cultists then started to appear and surrounded the 2 of them. Since their god wanted a holy blood sacrifice, the cultists wanted to perfect their king's coming together, for the sake of eternal happiness. Using the pen he got, Jinhyuk stabbed the cultist's neck. In an instant, he pierced the throats of countless cultists. Jinhyuk also asked who else wanted to do the next sermon. The cultists who witnessed that became frightened and started to step back. But as he stepped back, one cultivator nudged something. In front of him now was a giant cultist. The cultist was trembling with fear and called the giant-bodied cultist Mr. Proxy. The cultists reasoned that they were not afraid, but the proxy ignored him and smashed the cultist's head with his hand. After witnessing that, Jinhyuk asked Teresa if she had ever played tag before. He tells Teresa that he must not be caught by her. The proxy also swung its large hammer and attacked the 2 of them, but Jinhyuk and Teresa started to run away. In a room, a cultist meets his sect leader. When the leader asked how the sacrifice was going, the cultists prostrated themselves and reported that they caught them without difficulty. The sect leader was pleased that their god wanted more sacrifices, and now that the tower had been opened, many idiots had entered. He laughed out loud because finally the time promised by the gods to descend once again had arrived. However, while the cult leader was laughing, the cultist asked the cult leader to see something. On the screen shown by the cultist were Jinhyuk and Teresa, who were running away from this cultist's proxy. The cultists told them that they were the tumals they had just found. The sect leader didn't expect it because it was the first time he saw Proxy suffer. Looking at the screen, the man beside the sect leader recognized Jinhyuk. When asked if the cult leader knew Jinhyuk, he said yes. He believes that Jinhyuk is the most dangerous obstacle to their plan. Behind it, he was holding a mask. With his hammer, Proxy tried to hit Teresa. Teresa didn't expect that the Proxy had such speed with such a size. Jinhyuk also said it was impossible for the 2 of them to face the giant head at this time. Thus, he told Teresa to focus on running faster first. They both then turned. As the Proxy chased after them, she was blinded by a very bright light. With his hammer, he then hit the source of the light. But he was confused because the place he hit had only the remnants of a shattered tool. Jinhyuk and Teresa, who had been hiding, thought that earlier should give them enough time to think of a strategy. So he asked Teresa to listen carefully while he fished out the giant's head himself. Teresa didn't understand why Jinhyuk wanted to lure her after they had barely escaped him. But Jinhyuk said that it didn't matter, because sooner or later they would have to face it if they wanted to clear this floor. He requested that while he was fishing for the Proxy, Teresa evacuated the others. He believed they had no way of getting out now that their precious return stone had turned out to be a ruse. Jinhyuk tried to clear the 5th floor as quickly as possible, but now it's getting a little tricky. Hearing that, Teresa felt guilty because she had followed Jinhyuk. Seeing Teresa, Jinhyuk smiled and asked Teresa to remember something just in case. In front of the cultists, Jinhyuk asked if they would just stand there and watch. He challenged them all to come forward. The cultists started running towards Jinhyuk. Elsewhere, the players who were caught were now bound by the cultists. Out of fear, they begged the cultists to forgive them. A moment later, another player was also just caught. With their eyes that looked like madmen, they said they were sacrifices to their god. Not far from there, Teresa ran towards them and then jumped. With her hockey stick, Teresa punched the cultist's face that was grabbing the female player. Teresa then ordered the player to save the others, but the player just trembled in fear and said it was pointless. He was sure they would all die here and not be able to get out. As Teresa was shifting her gaze to the player, one of the cultists tried to attack Teresa, but Teresa reacted and brushed off the attack. After brushing off the attack, Teresa counterattacked by hitting her chin with her weapon, causing the cultist to fall down. Teresa then convinced the player not to give up. He was sure they would all get out of here safely, so he asked the player to take his weapon and then stood up, because his colleague was currently clearing the 5th floor. However, at the same time, Jinhyuk, who had lost consciousness, was being carried by the proxy cultist. The players who were caught were currently locked up in prison. They were sure that they would die soon, and regretted having decided to come to this place. The cultists who watched over them also told them to be quiet if they did not want to be tortured. After telling them to be quiet, the cultist then allowed his superior to continue their conversation. The sect leader asked the man he was with if he was the person he was referring to. The man said yes, and told him that this was the first time they had met in person. The person they were talking about was the newly awakened Jinhyuk. Looking at the man in front of him, he felt that the mana he had belonged to a human. Since he was on the same side as the boss of the 5th floor, he thought that he might be a demonic human. He then used his Eye of Gluttony, but the status window check failed because the target was currently activating a high-level mental barrier. Jinhyuk was planning to use this to fight against the sect leader, but he felt he had no other choice at the moment, so he used the white pill and increased one of his own by 2 times for 10 minutes. Now his adaptability stat has increased to 20, and once checked his status window. He also saw that he was Hosenfeld from the Knight of the Round Table. Jinhyuk also thought that he must be the champion of the Human Demonic Association that Melina had talked about before. Her appearance here was beyond his imagination. Besides, Jinhyuk really wanted that mental barrier skill. It could become the driving force that could restrain divinity. But when he saw the conditions for copying the skill, Jinhyuk felt dizzy. Seeing Jinhyuk, who was silent, Hosenfeld asked why Jinhyuk was silent. While using an embarrassing style, Jinhyuk also replied that he was too busy suppressing the darkness that was inside him. Witnessing Jinhyuk's embarrassing behavior, they couldn't help but remain silent. The sect leader asked Hosenfeld if he was sure he was the person he was talking about. Hosenfeld replied that he was quite sure. The disgusted sect leader said he wasn't even that bad. From within the artifact, Alice burst out laughing. Jinhyuk, who felt very embarrassed, could only hope that they would pretend not to see. Hosenfeld then asked Jinhyuk whether he was aware that he was caught to be a sacrifice. However, while laughing like a madman, Jinhyuk asked Hosenfeld if he could imprison his destructive power madness. Once again, seeing the behavior of Jinhyuk, Hosenfeld could only remain silent. He started to think that Jinhyuk might be hiding some sort of trump card. He then said that he knew how strong Jinhyuk was, but now that his skill was sealed, Hosenfeld was sure that Jinhyuk couldn't survive in this place. Not long after, someone screamed. Hosenfeld asked if Jinhyuk heard that. He told her that it was the sound of a ritual sacrifice of life that they would all become one of. A horrible and slow death that no sanity could bear awaited them. However, Hosenfeld offers that he will give them the key if they tell him everything they know about Anonymous. Jinhyuk smiled and said that he would tell the answer if Hosenfeld would give his real name. Thinking that Jinhyuk would die soon, he introduced his name, also known as Lancelot. The conditions were finally fulfilled, and Jinhyuk had now succeeded in copying the mental barrier skill. After giving his name, Hosenfeld also said that it was Kang Jin-hyuk's turn now and told him to say anonymous identity. Kang Jinhyuk raised his index finger and said that he would only tell him once, so listen carefully. He told that anonymous is. After hearing Kang Jinhyuk's answer, he gave the key according to his promise. He then put on his mask and said that he hoped Kang Jinhyuk would die soon as he walked away. Seeing Hosenfeld walking away, Kang Jinhyuk just smiled. Because the key that was given was ignored by Kang Jinhyuk, the other players who were there took the key and tried to get out of that place, but he just got annoyed because there is no keyhole. While lying down, Kang Jinhyuk thought that it was time for Teresa. At the same time, Teresa had been captured by the cultists. This was the first time for them to see a victim fighting back so forcefully. He had even defeated more than 20 people. They believed that their gods would be pleased because Teresa had a great zest for life. To the other players who were caught, Teresa asked where the others were, but he heard someone angry. He saw the player he saved earlier beating up a girl and blamed the girl. Teresa immediately protected the girl and told the player to stop. But the player was actually annoyed and said that Teresa didn't know anything. He told her that the girl Teresa protected was a real inhabitant of the tower. Teresa turned to the girl, and the girl turned her head away. The other players blamed the girl and said that the tower wouldn't appear if the girl wasn't there. With their faces full of despair, they blamed all of this was that girl. Seeing that the player grabbed her, the girl trembled in fear and closed her eyes. But Teresa stopped the player. Teresa said the real occupant of the tower or not, it didn't matter because she too was caught by the cultists. The girl saw Teresa protecting her. The determined Teresa would not allow this to happen.